I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the MisanthroPod Movie Club. I'm Snipe, and as always I'm joined by Wib, say hello.
Hello.
I'm also joined by Drama Matt, say hello.
Hello.
And we are also joined by a very specialist guest that makes me put loads more S's in things. Hobbytan, Hobbolito, the Garbage Panda. Hello.
Please, don't mind me.
How is everybody doing this fateful evening where we actually managed to finally record this?
Yeah, sorry this episode's a bit late. This episode was cursed, which will turn out to be fitting, but, you know, it is what it is. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. Is everyone else fine?
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
Silence is golden.
Yeah. We're doing amazingly then. Okay, good, great,
I'm
perfect.
fine.
Okay, shall we get right into this?
I'm fine.
You're fine?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
Thanks, everybody.
You're fine.
I'm fine.
Okay. So let's get right into this. Matthew,
Yes.
what are we doing today?
We are
It was
watching,
your pick.
or more to the point, trying to remember, having watched, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Because it is a
indeed?
film that I have never seen before doing this, and I really wanted an excuse to watch it. And we happened to mention that we hadn't done any 80s films yet, so I was like, perfect, great.
Yep.
Um,
Now, can you remember anything about it?
yes, I have a synopsis written. A bad synopsis, including the word bloke at various times, but I'm sure I'll remember everything.
I just have the word racism written down a lot. Not for any positive reason, just because that's a big theme in this movie.
Yeah. And if people are wondering, the reason why we have Hobby as our guest today is because, so Hobby, I understand that you are, let me just check my notes, literally the world's expert on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. If you think you know more than them, you are wrong. Is that correct?
I wouldn't quite go that far, but I do
Well, your
know...
doctorate does.
Oh, I wish.
I need to be
know a lot
ordained
of
as a
the
minister
script.
so I can bless you with a doctorate. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just give out PhDs.
But yeah, I know a fair amount about the production history of the film, which is very interesting, if you like that kind of thing. I know a lot of the script off by heart because this has been my favourite movie since I was like 6 years old. And I even have a film cell from the movie on my wall, which I am looking at right now.
What is it of?
It is the scene from quite near the end of the film, spoilers, where Roger says, "Why, the real meaning of the word probably hits you like a ton of bricks," just before he gets hit by a ton of bricks.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Excellent. So, I guess we'll do a little bit of an introduction to the thing, and for once, I guess I don't have to have fallen down a rabbit hole of trivia.
Nice.
A Roger rabbit hole.
So,
Oh my.
Being able to roll your R's helps when you're doing that, by the way.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a 1988 film directed by Robert Zemeckis and was very loosely based on the 1981 novel Who Censored Roger Rabbit by Gary K. Wolfe.
Who censored Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Who cancelled Roger Rabbit? He said a slur.
Now, all I know is that, the book is very, very different, but I don't...
It could be worse, it could be Cool
Yeah.
World.
I mean, that's kind of true of a lot of things.
For those of you who don't know, Cool World is someone watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit and went, it needs more horny, derogatory. And that's yeah, it's not good, dude. It's not good.
Was Cool World a Ralph Bakshi thing?
I don't fucking. He was like the Dune guy, wasn't he?
I
know,
think
was it?
so.
You're thinking of Lord of the Rings because Ralph Bakshi did Lord of the Rings.
There
wasn't an animated Dune movie as much as I want there to have been one.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it is a Bakshi. You're right.
Yeah, excellent.
Derogatory. God awful. I hate that movie so much.
That is completely fair.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, Cool World ain't great.
It's not as cool as it would fool you into thinking.
I suppose we should just get into the movie proper, shouldn't we? We can do the trivia stuff at the end. That's the way we normally do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matthew, as this was your pick, you are
Yes.
leading us through this.
I am.
Yes. Go
I
on.
am, and I'm not under any pressure by anyone who knows it far better than me.
Who's sitting there with a horsewhip, like smacking their palm with
It's
it.
all good, but yes.
It's okay, I'll close my ears.
No, I need all the help I can get, so feel free, anyone, to jump in whenever you want with interesting things or corrections.
Don't say that to me.
We open to a cartoon baby in a baby cage. There's a better word for them. A cot.
No, it's a baby cage.
Baby
Crib.
cage. Crib. That's
Baby
a better word.
cage.
Baby cage.
No, baby cage.
The baby's mum announces that they're going to the beauty parlour, darling. So just wanders off and leaves the baby.
This is a cartoon. By
Yes,
the way.
I think I
like
said
it-
that. Yeah, cartoon baby in a cartoon.
I
cage.
have written down in my notes, it's like the intro music is legally distinct Warner Brothers like cartoon music.
It's very Merry Melodies like, yes.
Oh, yes.
And the baby is then subsequently left with Roger, who I have here as the world's most annoying rabbit.
He genuinely is so
poor
fucking
Roger.
annoying. I'm sorry, Roger.
He's
but
trying.
you're so annoying.
He's doing his shtick, and he's playing up to it, which we find out in a bit. But yeah, the baby immediately escapes while Roger is busy monologuing about how great he is. And then while he's talking, the baby's trying to climb up and get cookies off the top of the fridge. Danger ensues. Roger's
Horrifying.
Horrifying.
Rube Goldberg,
Yeah.
like baby murder attempted murder happens
Roger
in the
gets-
most cartoonish way.
Yeah, like full stereotype, like cartoon. Every bad thing that could or couldn't happen to someone happens
The
to
baby
Roger.
votes for
in the next-
Brexit. There's conservatives there. Rishi Sunak drinks from the puddle.
Okay.
Such a specific reference, no one will get it.
We have knives, we have pans, hot sauce, electricity, everything, and Roger's taking it all like a champ. I have a note here that says "Succo looks." I'm sure that was relevant.
Succo, what?
That's
So,
the
it's a
vacuum cleaner.
It's called
Yep.
Succo
Oh.
looks, which is excellent.
Succo, look. That was...
You were going to say that's what they called me at college, weren't you? Yeah.
I was like, no, because then I dox myself, because everybody knows.
Oh, it's so well known.
I'm
Yeah.
so well known. Yeah,
You're in the paper and everything.
yeah, they're
So,
like, local woman will not stop sucking.
We are 45 seconds into the movie.
Come on, I'm on a roll.
Okay, let's go.
So yeah, basically, yeah, it's playing up to all of the cartoon tropes and whatnot, and you're thinking, okay, if you didn't know about, I don't know who at this point, even me who hadn't seen the film before, obviously I know the whole thing about the film, but if you were to go into it blind and you just think this is just a fairly stereotypical cartoon thing, but then the camera pans back to reveal that all of the cartoon stuff is all on a set in like real life or in like 3D normal not animated
Meat
world.
space.
Meat space.
Meat space.
Yeah, meat space. And yeah, we see that the set is cartoon. The characters in the thing are cartoon, but they're sort of 2D moving within meat space. And I can't think of a better phrase for it now.
They are cartoons in real life.
Yes, and that's the whole thing with this film. It is a rather cool blend of 2D animation cartoons in
Live action.
live action. There we go. Yes.
This looks better than a lot of the attempts made after, even to this day, which is
Legitimately, yeah.
pretty impressive, honestly.
There are reasons for that, which I will get into when I'm
Yes.
allowed to.
Yeah,
Okay.
Heck yeah.
we'll give you like a dedicated. Here is X amount of time, depending on how long this lasts for to talk about interesting stuff because I really want to hear all the interesting stuff behind. I've read it sort of on the outskirts of it, of like how they made it and things, but I'm interested to hear. But yes, so it's a good blend. The director has a go at Roger for messing up his lines.
And there is a fun thing where they're talking about how they're kind of establishing the rules of toons living in in meat space. How it's like, oh yeah, you can drop fridges on them, you hit them with hammers, whatever. Nothing kills a toon, and it's kind of like casually mentioned.
Yeah, because the quote unquote line that is flubbed is that when the fridge is dropped upon Roger, he's supposed to have so is it stars? Yeah, he's supposed to have stars spinning around his head, but instead he has birds. And they're like, you were supposed to see stars.
Rabbit gets clunked, rabbit sees birds.
Yeah. And I did notice, because as the Roger's begging for another take, because if I remember correctly, it's just, like they do say this is like several takes in, and he's flubbed that.
He's got it wrong every time.
And
18 times, I think it was.
Oh
yeah, it's a ridiculously long, and like all the crew are fed up, and they're like, it's not fun anymore.
And he repeatedly hits himself over the head with a pan to prove he can see stars, and every single time he does so, it's a different thing around his head. None of them are stars.
Yeah.
The other note I have here is the baby who up until this point has made baby noises. Yeah, he's just like an old bloke.
Yeah,
it's got like a really like
baby Herman.
I'll be in my trailer, and lights his fucking stogie and fucks.
And then
he's also a massive.
Skirt.
Yeah, is a massive misogynist.
Oh yeah, there's some mildly
there's some very
dramatically
creepy lines.
Yeah, creepy lines.
He is one of the only characters that has translated identically from the book into the film. That is what he's like in the book as well.
Oh god. Okay.
I've heard the only.
line...
Sorry, I was going to say I've heard the only difference is that his age is different, and that's the only major one.
Yeah, but the line, I've got a 40-year-old lust in a 3-year-old dinky, is a direct quote from the book.
I was wondering, because that was so graphic. I was like, fuck me running. Wow, okay. It's like Baby Doll, but make it horrible.
Oh, yeah.
But make it, like, creepy and gross.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. But yeah, I also have, because Thingy shows up. The Private Eye shows up, and I've just written, hello, Private Eye!
So, yeah.
Just saying.
We have a
Bob
drink.
Hoskins could get it. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
I am not joking. That man is very handsome. I like how angry he is. I like a man who is angry.
You just have a thing for Mario.
You say that, but like Mario could get it.
Short King.
Delicious.
Anyway, the movie is happening.
So yes, we've got the Private Eye. We find out he turns up. He's drinking, has a drinking problem, as Airplane would say.
But he is actually putting it in his mouth. So
yeah. Goes up to see the boss of the movie studio. And turns out, the film is over budget because Roger keeps messing up his lines and keeps needing new takes. And the boss thinks this is down to the fact that Roger's heart is broken because his wife, Jessica Rabbit, was seen with another man. So the film boss tries to get the private detective. I don't know if we've caught his name at this point. We find out later on what his name is.
No.
But I think
R.K. Maroon.
I think he's talking about...
Maroon's assistant puts her head through the door and says, Mr. Valiant is here to see you. So you know his surname at that point, but you don't know his first name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the boss.
No, I have just written him down as boss as well, so I haven't got his name, so thanks.
Oh, okay. See, that's why I thought, because you were ultimately not saying his name.
My brain couldn't remember, so my brain was calling him PK Thunder.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Close enough.
Oh yeah, that's PK Thunder.
It should also be noted that this is the bit in the movie where it does establish that it's set in 1947.
Yeah, which I have converted all of the money into modern day equivalents.
I did that
okay.
as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Well, yeah, so speaking of money, the boss bloke asks Valiant to go and take some pictures. And he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to go into Toontown, which is, where all the Toons live and do stuff. For reasons that will become clear later on.
Because they're racist.
But says it'll do it for $100.
$100, which today is just under $1,400.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
So that's quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
For like a day's work, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure whether it was the $100 or the fact that he notices the alcohol on the desk and helps himself to it that persuaded him to do it.
Also, Hobby, you're going to know this. I've gotten written on that. Why are there so many phones in there?
But 4 phones I counted, I think.
There's so many phones. Hobolito, what?
I just assumed it's because, like, if, you know, in those days, like, it might just be they need multiple, like, ways to get into the thing. Like, some lines will go to, like, different places, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know how phones worked in the 40s.
Well, what you do is you call an operator and say, put me through to this.
Yeah, but they probably have some that are to specific parts in the studio, so they wouldn't have to go through that.
No, let's hear what Hobbo has to say.
So I think it's actually pretty standard for animation studios to have multiple phones and lines leading to different people within a specific area. And it may also be a little bit of a callback to the production of Roger Rabbit itself, because it had 2 directors, 2 main producers, and 2 writers, because it's live action and animation. So they had to have one person to do each bit, as basically to be in charge of each bit. And the original guy that was in charge of all the animation side of things would sit in his office, apparently, with a connecting door to where the script writers were and a phone line, and he would never open the connecting door. So if they wanted to talk to him, they had to use the phone.
Oh my god.
Because he didn't like them.
Oh my god, what a prick. Oh my god.
I am starting to see why you said that this the movie being mildly cursed fit with this podcast episode being mildly cursed. Yeah.
Oh, that's only the start of it as well.
Yeah.
There's loads more where that came from. Yeah, it might be a nod to that.
Yeah,
That's quite fun. Right, so Valiant is looking out the window. Dumbo appears and makes him jump, and the boss says that he's got him on loan from Disney with half the cast of Fantasia, just dropping in that Disney's involved.
And it's great because they literally work for peanuts, and then he feeds him peanuts, and it's like, haha, child and animal abuse. That's and toon abuse as well. So, you know, normal Hollywood shit for that time, really, honestly.
Yeah. He pays Valiant $50 now, and he says he can have $50 afterwards when he's come up with the pics. He pockets the check and leaves, past an assortment of tunes, just to sort of set the tone for everything that's going on.
Yeah, so I quite like how some of them are like very kind of obvious ones, but there's some in there like Yo-Yo Dodo that are kind of a little bit more obscure, and lots that I don't even recognise. Which is I one of the things I like about the movie is like it's, if you have any sort of interest in old animation, it's just full of like little nods to very obvious ones, but also lots of relatively obscure ones.
I remember one of the old Mickey Mouse characters was like a lady cow or something, because I had a bedspread with her on it, and she was like a big lanky cow. And then there was another one who had like, oh, what is it? It looks like a big horseshoe thing that you put around like a donkey's neck. There's a character with one of those, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. That's like scraping the edge of my admittedly older than normal knowledge.
That's from ye old Disney.
It's actually pretty miraculous that anything that wasn't Disney got into the movie at all. It was only because Steven Spielberg got involved and decided he liked the idea, because he'd got enough sway within Hollywood to be able to just get people who owned the rights to those characters, like Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker, all those kind of characters. He was the only person that had enough sway to get them to go, yeah, we'll loan you our characters for this movie. And if it hadn't been for him, it would have just been Disney characters and nothing else, and it would not have landed anywhere near as well.
Yeah, no. Especially because I feel Roger Rabbit is very, like, Warner Brothers coded.
He's very Tex Avery coded.
Yeah.
I believe you. Great name, by the way, Tex Avery.
I know, right?
I wear spurs to the office. And every time he wants to access his intercom and ask his like secretary for a coffee, he shoots it.
Yeah, he's an old animator, and he was most of the Warner Brothers
He's
like
a
old
cowboy.
stuff.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the classic Warner Brothers stuff. So yeah, you are very much right there, Snipe. It is very Warner Brothers coded, very Tex Avery coded.
Oh yeah. I
Well
guess I'm
spotted.
just like the most knowledgeable about this movie. Like, how crazy is
Yeah,
that?
you're clearly an expert.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, this is like Warner Brothers, and you're like, you mean this guy? I'm like, yeah, the Office Cowboy.
I do want to say there is a bit that happens like once he's out of the studio. Because one thing I do like about the movie is how the humans basically play the movie straight.
Yeah, like they're just fed up.
Like for the most part, like they're not. They only engage in the comedy when it's sort of necessary. Like you could do a lot of bits of this movie just changing a few words around, and it would just be a sort of like movie from the 40s, like or a movie set in the 40s, like just kind of standard.
It kind of is though.
No, you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean.
Without the cartoons, but like you see Eddie like hitch a ride on the back of a tram.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful shot, by the way.
Because he can't buy a ticket with the check made payable to him, which he seems quite surprised at.
And he helps like a kid hitch on the back as well, which like does nicely establish that he is fundamental, even though he's obviously a bit grouchy. Like he's a nice guy.
I mean, he proceeds
broke.
to bum a cigarette off the kids that he's hitching a ride with.
I don't think it's more like.
I think they give him one.
Yeah, because he
They're
gets
like,
it.
hey man, you want a cigar? We got stogies.
Well, because he gets off at the end and he's like, "Thanks for the cigarettes," and in there's sort of a bit of it kind of comes across to me at least
Solidarity.
that even he's like, "Wow, that's kind of messed up. They probably shouldn't be doing that." But
so he gets off the tram, gets back to his office, immediately throws away a whole bunch of ominous-looking bills.
Yeah, Postman's like, here's your bills, and he's like, nope, and throws them in the bin.
Yep.
Which, honestly, legendary behaviour.
Yeah. Heads straight to a bar. At this point we get an ominous cloverleaf mention, which I'm sure isn't going to come up later on.
yes, because the tram company has just been bought by a company called Cloverleaf.
I already hate Cloverleaf because they handled the dubbing for a bunch of Sailor Moon. And they made it so then they were like, oh yeah, because there's two characters who are canonically a lesbian couple, and America went, that's so yucky, we can't have the gays, let's make them cousins that fuck. So they made them cousins, like slouching all over each other and being like really sexual, but it's like, that's fine, but they cannot be lesbians.
Kissing cousins is less upsetting.
But the thing
than
is, they were
lesbians,
still
apparently.
women.
Yep.
And I know, okay, very, very quick tangent here, but I know in the Deke dub of the earlier ones, they did make one of the characters a woman because, like, one of the enemy characters a woman, because he was in a relationship with another one of his evil, like, generals. And I at the time was like, that's gender, because obviously they're like a very pretty man, so they still have very broad shoulders and have a bit of a mask kind of shape, but they're like, oh, I'm, as the person who has a vagina, which means I'm female, by the way, children, I love this man. And it's like, I always thought it was a bit weird. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I'm always a
so
fan.
That's always bad, but, you know.
I'm always a fan of when there's like a dubbing job done on something that ends up creating accidental queerness.
Yeah,
that's always quite fun. It's like in Beast Wars, two of the characters who have a get together during it, and in Japan, those two characters one of them was male and female in the Western cut, and then when they dubbed it in Japan, they'd made both of them male, and so when they got to that part, they ended up going, oh well, I guess those characters are gay.
I love it. And plus, like, gender and sexuality with Transformers is fucking whatever anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Especially read the modern comics, Jesus Christ.
But yeah. So yeah, just putting that to the side.
Yeah, because that's got nothing to do with Roger Rabbit. Let's carry on.
Right, so Valiant goes into the bar. He ends up wanting to borrow a camera off the bar staff person, who he also owes money to. And then we find out more.
Waitress?
Yes, that's a word.
Dolores.
Yes.
I love Dolores. I think she's
Yeah, me
great.
too.
Also, I've got fucking awesome looking bar because that's just such a cool bar.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the fact it rattles every like 45 seconds as a tram goes past.
Yeah, but then you get to see a tram or a train or whatever.
That is true.
Past,
That is
like,
true.
ooh. Yeah. I do like it how every time that happens, everyone kind of just like assumes a position and lifts everything up off the tables without really even noticing.
Yeah,
and
it's
puts
just
it down. It's just so normalized. It's great.
It is sort of established that Eddie owes Dolores $100, and
Which is a lot of money.
like I think she took from the till, so she needs to get it back.
Yeah, she's like, at the end of it's like nearly the end of the week when there's going to be a tally, and I need that money.
Yeah.
And he's like, but give me a free drink, and she's like, yeah, Eddie.
You really get the idea that he and Dolores have a very complicated history, shall we say?
Yes.
Yep. Someone else in the bar teases him when he finds out he's working with Toons, and he ends up threatening him and saying, "I don't work with Toons."
Oh, that's my quote. How dare you? I'm a racist.
Yeah.
Oh, you're working with Toons. I'm not. It's like, oh, you're working for Toons. I'm not working for Toons. I'm a racist, and I hate them because they're an ethnic group that I dislike, and that's fine. So Eddie's not in the best place where it comes to morality.
There is coding in this movie. It is true.
Yeah.
Why did you have to make this political?
I will say, if you've seen the film before, knowing what you find out a little bit after that interaction makes you go, I understand why he's angry. Still not a good stance to take. But
yeah, you're like, okay, not the way to go about it, but I understand why you're upset.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
this is where we find out that a Toon killed Eddie's brother. So yeah, well, I mean, obviously,
He dropped a piano on his head.
Which, honestly, credit to the actress who played Dolores. That is the funniest thing, and she said it so
sold
genuinely.
it so well. Yeah.
She was like, Toon killed his brother, dropped a piano on his head. And she's like so upset, and I'm like, that's not funny.
Honestly,
that's terrible.
the live action actors really, really sell the entire movie.
They do it so well.
Bob
and,
Hoskins especially.
Absolutely.
Like he's been praised by the creative crew, like the people that were on set with him, for how well he acted against nobody.
Yeah. I mean,
And it
think
really
of it,
shows.
So many actors have to do that now because, we'll just fucking CGI it. Who gives a shit about, anything looking good or being cool anymore?
Yep.
Just saying. Anyway.
Right, so Valiant goes off and he gets to a mysterious door where there's a password on it, like old, sliding shutter style. And the password is Walt sent me. In case we need more Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Turns out to be an underground music hall. And this is where we get an excellent scene of Donald, the Ducks performing, Donald and Daffy. They're having piano off.
I have something to say.
Yeah, right.
I have something to say about this scene. As Eddie's being shown to his seat, they're sniping back and forth. So, you get Donald shouting at Daffy and Daffy shouting at Donald.
We're going to do a mercy to the audience here, and none of us are going to attempt an impersonation of either of those characters.
Because we're not boomers, and that would be tedious as fuck. So, I've got the time, 15 minutes and 18 seconds. I would bet a significant amount of money on Donald Duck calling Daffy Duck the N-word. I'm not joking. I looked at the thing and because it's a little bit of the way his weird Donald the Duck voice, and it says in the subtitles it's nitwit, and I'm like, that's not what was said.
Ooh, oh no!
I turned that up real fucking loud and re-listened to it several times. I know what that word was, and then I played it to you, and you were like, and you looked at me like, oh no. So Donald the Duck not only cosplays as Hitler, loves the N-word. I think we should cancel Donald Duck. He's awful.
I'm sorry. I mean,
cancel him. He's terrible. It's actual racism.
That Scrooge McDuck is better than Donald Duck, then?
Well, I don't think Scrooge McDuck has ever dropped the N-bomb, so no.
Which is funny because of all the ducks in the Disney canon, Scrooge is the one I would have put money on doing that before rewatching this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so I was just like,
Yeah, you did play it to me, and I was like, that does kind of sound like it. That is, 'cause if I could make out what he was saying, and there was any other word that I could place as what he might be saying,
Because I can't say for definite, even though I would bet a lot of money on it, that it was that word. All I can say is that I know 100% that it was not nitwit.
yes,
Just saying, subtitle guy who tried to salvage it. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Moving on. Sorry if I've just made your fave problematic, listener.
I'll never watch the new DuckTales reboot like the same again.
Yeah, he gets his voice back and is immediately cancelled.
He gets his voice back at one point.
Does,
It's
Yeah, and
amazing.
he comes out with all these new slurs he's invented. It's incredible.
Oh no! Right,
Just to
so
get past the censors.
so we meet Marvin Acme, who is a prankster.
Okay, can I ask something? Because I looked at this guy and I went, this guy smacks of like, he's like the voice of Porky Pig or something. Like, I don't know if he is. I don't
No,
know if
he's just an old actor.
But he just like, I don't know, the energy in which he was shot, I was just like, this is a big deal. This guy's a big deal.
Well, he is a important
Not
character to the
just
plot.
an important character to the plot. Fuck off, you know what I mean. Stop being a bud.
Yeah, no, he's an old actor, but he's not like a voice actor as far as I know.
Okay.
And he's definitely not the voice actor of any like cartoon, like famous cartoon.
Okay, I'm just
character.
saying, it's just the way he was introduced felt very kind of,
Which is kind of what you want for his character as well, because he's sort of bridging the gap between human and toon.
Yeah. He's the anime fetishist.
I mean, I wouldn't put it like that, but yeah.
He is John Q. Anime, the man who created cartoons for perverts. Which I have. Oh, I've just noticed I have in my notes. Cartoons for perverts, and then the next one is square bracket fetish awakened. Ends close bracket.
You're getting ahead of us a little bit. You're
That's
getting
when
a little-
Jessica comes out.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
So yeah, just very quickly. So yeah, we see a prankster. He's got like a hand buzzer electric thingy. Disappearing ink, which is mentioned rather ominously, which I'm sure won't be relevant later on at all.
Because he squirts that onto Eddie's shirt.
Yeah, he just jacks off onto Eddie's shirt. A bit weird.
Yeah.
But, I mean, sure.
We meet Betty Boop, who is just frankly depressing.
I mean, she is anyway.
Yeah.
What an awful cartoon.
Like, she's just selling cigarettes because work's been slow since cartoons went to colour.
Yep.
I also really like how, because Eddie orders like a scotch on the rocks from like the cartoon penguin who's like the waiter.
From like Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, yeah, it is, yeah. And then when he does get brought some scotch, because he yells after him, and I mean ice. And then he gets brought it, and it does actually have rocks in it. And I think that illustrates how fucking annoying it must be to exist around toons, because you can't ever be non-literal about anything ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's like living in a house with me.
Yeah, true.
Wow. You weren't supposed to agree so readily, but okay, it's fair.
Also, I looked this up, by the way, because I wondered when the first colour and sound cartoon actually was. And it was in 1930, and it was called Fiddlesticks. And it's a Flip the Frog cartoon. And it ends with Flip fist fighting a piano, because I watched it.
It's that piano killed Eddie's brother.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Next
Anyway,
up,
yes.
after the ducks, we have Jessica Rabbit. And Jessica Rabbit is just... She's just unnecessarily sexual. It's just...
She is
it is
so
it is just
outrageously horny.
It's ridiculous.
It was just so funny because I've seen people draw like, oh, this is like, this character from Bluey, and they draw that character like that now, and I'm like, I'm like, hell, sin. None of you are free of sin. Derogatory, not the positive sin we all enjoy. But it is just like, she is what? Okay, so you give a teenage boy drawing powers.
And they will draw Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
And they'll draw Jessica Rabbit.
But they would draw like a slightly less horny version of Jessica Rabbit.
There's
probably.
a fun anecdote that Wib told me, which was when Bob Hoskins was acting opposite what was supposed to be Jessica Rabbit. They said, "Imagine your ultimate sexual fantasy," and then he said, "When I saw it, what I imagined was nowhere near that horny."
Yeah, basically.
I I'm like, I love that.
One of my
he was like, and even for me, that was way too horny, dude.
One of the little details about her animation that I think is interesting is that her boobs are intentionally animated wrong.
As a joke.
They
go
bounce
the wrong way.
they bounce the wrong way to emphasize their movement. So like they bounce when they should be they go up when they should be going down, basically.
Yep.
To emphasize their movement so much.
But my favorite part comes before she comes on stage, and Eddie's and the crowd is going wild because they're like, "Oh, Jessica Rabbit's coming out," and he's like, "All this for a rabbit." And then, like, she comes out, and he immediately everyone jizzes instantly.
Yeah.
Big jizz. And then he goes to Betty, he's like, she's married to, like, Roger Rabbit. And she goes, yeah, ain't she lucky?
Yeah. What a lucky girl.
What a lucky gal. And I'm like, okay, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
But yeah, so this scene happens, Jessica sings a song, and a million sexual awakenings happen.
It made me realise just how much the scene from The Mask with Cameron Diaz, who was 19 at the time. Fucking.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah, I think I might be a few years off. I think she was at the very youngest 19. I think she might have been 20 or 19, 20, which is so fucked, by the way. And everyone acts like idiots. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, so that's just the scene where a woman comes out and sings, and everyone immediately jizzes themselves and has 100
I do want to say, from like a technical level, there's a lot
like
of
the holding of the tie and stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of things like Jessica interacting with both Eddie and Marvin Acme, like putting like arm on their chest and like putting underneath their jacket and things like pulling of tie. And there's even a bit where like Betty Boop like closes Eddie's slack jaw.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's just lots of little moments of like the Toons interacting with humans that from like a technical front to make clothes and stuff move independent of the person. Like this is all through the movie, obviously, but like I think this is the first time it's really showcased. And it's just so impressive.
The Ink and Paint Club scene, because that's the name of the bar for anyone that didn't know, is one of the most technically complex scenes that they did in the entire movie in terms of the amount of puppeteering, the amount of coordination that was required. Because you barely see it as Eddie's coming into the bar, but there's a Toon octopus bartender who is mixing multiple drinks and serving them to flesh customers.
Don't say that. But
You know what
don't
I mean.
ever fucking say that, though. Oh my
IRL
god.
customers.
Wow. Human! Just say human!
That's the word. I forgot the word for human. Leave me alone. I'm very excited about animation right now. Can't brain. So it's octopus serving drinks to human customers, and it's literally mixing like 4 or 5 different drinks, serving drinks at the same time, and all of this is being done by a bunch of puppeteers that are about 3 feet under the stage.
Oh my god.
With
Jesus.
like little marker sticks and strings and stuff like that. So it's all puppeteering. The penguins as well, that was people literally walking the
they have,
drinks
like,
trays underneath the steam.
they have real drinks trays and drinks there. And it's just the penguins that are like Toon, so it's woof.
Exactly. So there's all this detail and all this work. I think there was something like 40 soundstage technicians working on that scene alone.
Jesus.
See, now, if anyone doesn't or has never worked in a creative industry, when there is a certain look a creative person will give you when you describe something like this that would take, just logistically to figure out that octopus scene would have taken a month at the very least of a bunch of people arguing in a room filled with cigarette smoke at 2 a.m. If you suggest something like that to someone who could do that, there is a certain look they will give you that you can feel in your soul. It is hatred, it is ice, it is rage, and it is, yeah, I'm gonna do it because that would look fucking awesome, but this is gonna be so goddamn irritatingly difficult.
I can do it, but it's going to take a while and it'll fucking cost you.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a complex look, but you
Well, I
know
mean,
it.
this unsurprisingly was the most expensive movie made in the 1980s, if I remember
I
correctly.
absolutely am not surprised.
Considering how long it took to make that isn't surprising at all.
Yeah. It's no Waterworld, but...
but what is? Am I correct? Fucking, I'm not watching Waterworld for this podcast.
Oh, I'm totally going to make you all watch Waterworld at some point.
If you suggest Waterworld, I'm going to divorce you.
Waterworld's not that bad. It's just wet Mad Max.
Where nothing really happens.
No. Stuff happens. It's just not very good or interesting. Anyway, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
Horniness.
This is also the point where I learned that Jessica Rabbit isn't a rabbit. Because I think for my entire life I didn't realise. I just assumed that she was I assumed that she was like an anthropomorphized rabbit.
Oh, so you thought like Lola Bunny kind of.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
just
am
never
honestly
looked
a little bit amazed that you've managed to get this far into your life without knowing what the woman who was voted the sexiest woman in the world like 3 times in a row looked like.
If I told you that people had voted someone with bunny ears was the sexiest, would you be surprised?
Okay, that's fair. That's honestly fair.
To be fair, the caramel bunny was in the top 5 one year.
I remember everyone's dicks getting really confused because they were like, but she's voiced by an old woman. What the fuck, my
voiced
dick?
by Miriam Margolyes. We literally mentioned the caramel bunny in the last fucking episode.
Like, comment, and subscribe for more caramel bunny.
Right. Anyway, moving on from Jessica Rabbit. So after the show, Valiant goes backstage to try and get his pics, but he gets chucked out by the bouncer. So he goes around.
And then he's racist to him. He calls him because he's like a gigantic, scary gorilla, and he calls him like a fucking chimp or something.
Well, he does he pretends to mimes chimp noises at him, which I think is a hate crime.
It is absolutely a hate crime. It's like, why is this guy so gleefully Toon? We'll find that out. That's racism is a tool that will help. No,
we do. Before he gets chucked out, we see Marvin Acme go into Jessica's dressing room with flowers.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he goes round to the back alley at the back and tries to peek through the window. And we. Go on.
No, I was just agreeing. That's fine.
Yep. Okay. And then we see Jessica. Well, we hear it chatting with Marvin, and then it turns out to be what everyone assumes more than chatting, and they are playing patty cake, and Marvin is getting very, very excited by this patty cake, and it sounds.
I think it's a joke of like Toons don't fuck, they play patty cake.
Yeah, well, at this point, because you're only hearing this, you just assume that
it sounds like they're fooling around.
Yeah.
I do quite like how one of the comments that because Jessica's like, oh, we can't be doing this again, but this time at least take off the hand buzzer.
Can you imagine playing patty cake with a motherfucker with a hand buzzer? God damn. And I'm sorry. Also, can you imagine like going to have sexual contact with a woman like Jessica Rabbit and wearing a hand buzzer?
Hey, people are into different things.
Yeah,
look, I ain't
exactly.
judging.
This is the thing. I'm sitting there going like, I'm not kink shaming. I'm just
Electrostimulation is a thing some people are into.
Okay, I'm not shaming, but also imagine just doing that at a random hookup. Be like, hey, I'm into something a bit out there. Is it okay if I whack you off while I'm wearing a hand buzzer? Can you fucking imagine? Are those things aren't waterproof? I mean, I don't know, maybe the expensive ones are. But my main point is, why would you?
He'd make it waterproof.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, why would you? Because let's be honest, these people. It's set in like the 40s. They don't have FetLife. They don't know what the fuck's going on. You go in and you realise that you have a chance with this bodacious woman, and you just keep your hand buzzer on and jeopardise that. I find that rather silly. That's the most unbelievable part of this movie.
We've been recording for 47 minutes, and we are like 15 minutes away through the movie.
Okay.
All right. So Valiant goes back to the movie studios and tells Roger and the film boss, and they don't take it well. No. At this point, we see the pictures, and it turns out they are literally just playing patty cake, like as in.
And Roger is inconsolable.
Yeah, he has a drink, but he kind of explodes. Where we learn that
he like bounces around and ruins everything.
Because Maroon gives him a shot of whiskey to make him feel better. He does this whole thing like he becomes like a
rocket.
What do you call it? The whistles for
like a factory whistle.
Yeah, factory whistle. It turns into. and like blows out all the windows.
Yeah, and just bounces around and breaks everything. And then he's like, I think he's like, oh, I needed that or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valiant says that he says, don't worry, there's plenty more dames. To which Roger responds by, I put it here, cartooning out a window.
He's like, him and Jessica will be happy one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Also, this is
ominous.
just a note that I've noticed I've written, which is at 2924, which is I desperately want an LA Noire game that's Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
amazing.
That would be
Like,
great.
because like there's a
Yes.
part where he's looking for evidence, and I just heard the do like the jingle from L, and I was like, oh my god, I want that so bad.
I also really like the touch.
Even if it was just DLC, though, I'd buy it.
I also really like the touch of when Roger is looking at the photos and he's flicking through them really fast and
It's
it
like
animates.
So it becomes a
Like,
flip book.
It
Yeah,
becomes a flip book.
Perfect.
Like, yeah.
It's pretty fun.
The window breaking in that scene was a one shot or you're not doing it again kind
One
of
shot
situation
or
as well.
you're
Apparently,
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Wow.
very carefully controlled detonation on that window.
It'd need to be like a properly placed charge. That
Yeah.
would be ooh. Especially
And
because there's so
apparently
many...
the blind wasn't supposed to come down, but they decided to keep it in.
Honestly, I think that kind of added to it because
Yeah.
it just showed how shambolic the whole thing had kind of been left, and I thought that was pretty good.
Right, so Valiant goes back to his office. At this point, we see Valiant. It says Valiant and Valiant on the door, which is presumably his brother. He's also turned out he's living at the office.
I like his fold-down filing cabinet bed.
fold
It's
down.
so
I
it's
wanted
got,
one
like,
so much as a kid.
Yeah, I get you.
like a Murphy bed. But the Sims have told me they kill you.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you will die. But yeah, I also liked how it had such a dip in it. It would be impossible for it to be functional as anything, especially a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes to perv on the developed photos of Jessica. And he also sees from earlier on the film roll photos of him and Dolores from early on holiday, and they're sort of starting to put together that they used to be a thing, and there's some old photos on there.
Yeah, you see him, like, being actually happy and smiling.
And like loads of there's like a Bugs Bunny reference where he's got like a carrot or a cigar. And I don't know. It's just fun.
That's a Mark Spiller reference.
It's a picture of him and his brother in Hawaiian shirts and playing, I think, ukuleles. Gonna defer to the musicians in the...
I don't remember.
that.
Probably ukuleles.
Yeah, they're ukuleles.
Ukuleles.
That's how you would pronounce it. They have a silent L at the beginning, actually. Only musicians can see it.
Oh,
But yeah,
I'm so
some
sorry.
of them...
That's okay.
Yeah, some of them have his brother in them as well. So, it's making, Eddie tear up and...
Yeah.
You forget for a second that you're watching a fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
You see, like, the other side of his desk that has obviously not been touched in a long time, so it's, like, covered in dust, and it's got all of his, like, brother's belongings, and there's all these cuttings where you see, like, they used
Helped
to have...
out the tunes, and were really cool with the tunes.
They did loads of stuff with tunes, and they were the sons of a clown, so they were
like the only two like private eyes who actually like worked in Toontown, and they did a lot of really good stuff. And it's like I think that's really cool.
And Dolores used to work with them as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
So it's a short scene that gives you a lot of detail.
Yeah, there's a lot of like background storytelling there, which is pretty cool.
And it's got absolutely glorious music by Alan Silvestri backing that and really sort of driving home not only the emotion of the scene, but the noir feel of everything as well, which is really nice.
It's such a good scene. So good. It tells you so much.
And just to cap it off, in case you hadn't noticed that he's got an alcohol thing, he ends up falling asleep with a bottle just on his desk. All right, next morning, Lieutenant Santino.
Yes.
I know someone's name.
How do you know this guy's name and not like Dolores' name?
Who knows? Wakes him up the next morning and says that Marvin Acme has been killed by the rabbit. They head down to Toontown to the crime scene to investigate. Turns out Acme was killed by a safe to the head. There's a theme here.
Which is which is like, so Eddie is like obviously genuinely triggered by this, the poor man.
Various police are around messing around with all the cartoon stuff there because it's in Acme's warehouse, right?
So it's all like
So there's
props
all-
and cartoon gags
Yeah.
and things.
Acme
Yeah.
stuff.
And the cops don't think any of that is dangerous and therefore are going to mess about with it as much as they like.
Which
Seems
is
fine.
honestly
Seems
probably
fine.
like one of the better actual accurate representations
One of the most
police
realistic
officers.
representations of police officers in a film
Yeah.
ever.
Hey, what's this do? Fires a gun at one of his colleagues. With a boxing glove that fucking nearly kills the motherfucker.
Yeah. Jessica is
Yeah.
also there at this point, who slaps Valiant.
I hope
Presumably
you're
for-
proud of yourself.
And those pictures you took.
Yeah.
Two people or two cops wheeling away, or maybe not cops, they might be doctors, I don't know. Two people wheeling away Acme's body on a gurney. Toon stuff happens with all the various bits and bobs
Toon
around,
stuff does happen.
which results in him being dropped. And then he drops something out of his hand. Valiant picks it up, but in the process is stopped by Doc.
Judge Doom.
Judge Doom.
And
I
I
do
will
have
say-
Judge Doom written as well as Doc.
I will say, Christopher Lloyd could get it. Maybe not with his turkey teeth.
Yeah.
With his
I have a
fucking-
fun fact about Judge Doom / Christopher Lloyd if you are interested.
Yes.
I do want to hear. I also want to rave about the the makeup effects on him.
Oh, yes. That is fair.
I'll get to that later, though.
Christopher Lloyd wasn't originally going to be in this movie.
Who was going to play Judge Doom?
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
I think
casting-
Tim Curry should have been in this movie, but not as Judge Doom.
The casting crew thought he was too scary.
That
yeah,
tracks.
I get that.
Yeah. So Bob Zemeckis said, hey, Christopher Lloyd is great to work with. Can we have him?
The thing is, what's funny is that I grew up with so many people who couldn't watch this movie because they were terrified of Christopher Lloyd's Judge
Yeah.
Doom.
Yeah.
Because he is so intense and he plays it so...
Oh, yeah.
I love Christopher Lloyd. I think he's incredible.
Me too.
Oh, he's great.
Big Chris Lloyd fan.
Oh, he's so good. And, like, the fact that it took me until I was, like, 18 years old to realise that he played Uncle Fester. Because I just did not know. Mm-hmm. And then when
good.
someone
Fester's
told me,
always my
I was like,
favourite.
you're a liar. Oh, Fester is so cute. I love Fester.
I do just want to, before
I
we
love
move...
Gomez because I always had such a crush on Raul Julia.
Okay, we don't have the time for any more tangents.
Fine! We won't have fun. We'll talk about this stupid movie
We are
that
an
all
hour
enjoyed.
in. I do just want to
Sorry, I
point
feel
out...
like I'm not helping there.
Okay, that's okay.
I do just want to say one of the reasons that, aside from the circumstantial evidence of Roger being the main suspect, there is yellow paint on the rope on the safe, and Roger has yellow gloves. And
Yeah.
they're Toons, they're made of paint. So
Huh. Yeah, okay, yeah.
so Judge Doom.
Also, Judge,
Judge
Doom
Doom.
is so aggressively Nazi-coded in his costuming.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very
He's
well done, costume
employed.
department.
He's employed a bunch of weasels to go and find Roger.
I love the weasels so much.
Okay, so Hobbo is going to kill me when I say this, but one of my notes says, green suit weasel could get it.
Is there anyone in this movie
No,
you
no,
are not
that's
attracted
fair.
to?
That is
No,
completely
he could
fair.
get it, couldn't he? He's got the
That
curls.
is completely fair.
I don't know. Okay, let's think. I probably wouldn't go for Betty Boop. She's not my type.
The hydrocephalic head, is that it?
It's too big, yeah. I mean, I'd be her friend, but yeah. But yeah, just saying.
I've got a typo here, so I can't work out what I said. But someone annoys Judge Doom, presumably a Toon, and he said that you have to make Toons respect the law, and then he just straight up murders it.
Yeah,
It's a
he just
squeaky
kills
shoe.
it. It kills it in like
It's like
cold blood.
Yeah, with some sort of, he's got this mix of acetone and chemicals that.
Turpentine.
Yep.
It's
a complete-
basically
speaking
sodium
as
benzoate.
a cost champion at work who has to deal with this stuff. That would be a health and safety nightmare dealing with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he's a Nazi and doesn't care. And I will say I can't remember what this is actually called in the biz, but the fact that he dips this red thing, this red shoe into this what's referred to as the dip, which is like one of the only thing that they found that can kill Toons. He pulls his gloves out and there's red liquid all over these big black, like to his elbow hazmat gloves. And I'm like, this is obviously blood-coded, and it is so fucking effective. It is so creepy.
Also, I want to point out that the shoe, I don't know if this is true, but this is a bit of trivia that I saw, but the shoe that, the cartoon shoe that Doom performs an extrajudicial murder upon, is voiced by Nancy Cartwright?
What?
What?
Yeah, I think that might be correct, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, moving on. Valiant heads back to his office, and my notes here says, combines with the Toon baby to be generally misogynistic. Just to be awful for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, whips the woman on the... Yeah, he's just gross.
Yeah.
This is also, if you're ever bored, go look up the rig they had to build so that Herman can wave his cigar around.
Also, I sent you a picture of the green suit weasel.
Okay.
For your fun.
Oh, my phone's next door.
It's fine. You can look at it later.
I'll look at it later. Thank you. The baby. What was the baby's name?
Baby Herman.
Herman. That was it. Herman says that Roger didn't do it.
I'm gonna believe misogynist baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everything else he says seems legit.
Yeah, like don't give women the vote.
He does not say that in the movie.
You know he
might
thinks
as
it like
well.
4 times a day.
1947. I think most of the people in it probably have got some reservations.
Yeah, fair point. Well, no, not fair point. Point.
The point. I made a point.
I see.
He says that the newspaper says that Acme didn't have a will, but he did say that he was going to leave Toontown because turns out he owns Toontown, and he's going to leave it to the Toons, but he allegedly doesn't have a will. Important plot point.
Herman does offer to pay Valiant to look into this. And Eddie says no.
Because racism.
Well, Eddie acts no.
Well, he acts no by kicking the pram away.
Well, maybe he's just like...
Doesn't he shove it down the stairs?
I don't think it
Straight
actually...
into the poor nanny that...
Which brings up an interesting moral debate, which is, are you allowed to harm a baby if they're a misogynist?
How misogynistic does a baby have to be before you're allowed to assault
Kick it down the fucking stairs.
It's okay. Herman's a 40-year-old baby, so he's not a true baby.
Yeah.
Oh, it's no true baby, are we? All right, gatekeeping babies now. Okay, fine.
That one I am.
Herman's just got an adult baby kink thing going on.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And he's managed to
Actually,
monetize it.
Yeah.
That was how he was originally posited, yeah.
Oh my
Great.
god, why did you
Great.
say that? I'm
Well-
learning so much I wish I'd never known.
That's what I'm here for, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Eddie heads into his office.
Yep. He does. He notices something. Is this in his office? He notices something
Yes.
in one of the photos. Yes, in the office.
Yeah, which is so hard to miss. How could he have missed that picture? Oh, it's eagle-eyed, fucking. Oh my god, he doesn't even pick up it's like a
magnifying
personal
glass.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
personal microscope, but that works
It's
better.
a magnifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like,
he uses his whiskey glass as a magnifying glass and then goes, hang on a minute, and then gets an actual magnifying glass.
I am a literal private detective. I will have a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
It's the symbol of my trade. I should have one of those around here somewhere.
And yeah, it turns out Acme did have a will.
And it was in his pocket the night he was murdered.
yeah, and he was like, you know what I take to casual hookups? My last will and testament.
Hey,
Chicks
can't-
love knowing I'm cutting my fucking parents out of my will.
You can't be too fucking careful.
Evidently.
He pulls down his bed from the wall, presumably to go to bed, only to find Roger's there.
Because of course he is.
Yep.
Roger says he didn't do it. Of course he would. He wrote Jessica a love letter, is what he did.
That was his drastic action.
That was his, yeah.
Because that's... Ooh.
As far as I'm concerned, pretty baller move.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
really
he was-
angry. I'm going to write you a love letter.
The thing is that he went to Jessica's dressing room and he wrote it, and because she wasn't there, he wrote it on a blank piece of paper that he found there.
A blank piece of paper.
A blank piece of paper with no writing on it.
Whatsoever.
No visible ink could be found on that paper.
He also may have told literally everyone in the town that he was going to Eddie's by asking everyone where Eddie lived.
He's like, "Hi, I'm Roger Rabbit. I'm wanted for murder, and I want to talk to this guy specifically. Where does he live?" And that was just what he said to literally 40 different people who lived within a 50-yard radius of Eddie's house.
Because when he went,
knew.
And everyone was like,
Nobody knew where
fine.
Eddie lived, except for the liquor store guy.
because Roger
So which got me thinking, did they deliver?
presumably.
Maybe.
Because that's a utopian fucking thought, isn't it? I could
The 40s were a different time.
bring whiskey, sir.
But yes, he ran, and the reason he's shown up is because when he tried to go home, the weasels were waiting for him.
Yes,
So
they were. I have learned that the green suit weasel is called Greasy.
Greasy.
Yep.
Nice.
great.
I can look past that. I don't have to call him that.
So, cartoon hijinks happen, which result in Roger and Eddie being handcuffed together.
Yes.
Not in that way, unfortunately.
The weasels arrive outside. Roger begs Valiant to help hide him. He's obviously hesitant, but ends up doing it. The weasels shoot their way in, but turns out, Valiant has hidden Roger. And I love this scene.
It's so funny.
He's doing the washing up, and Roger's just having to hold his breath. In as much as the cartoons have to hold their breath, I guess they have.
I think it's for the bit.
Yeah, the length of their they have to be out of breath when they come up. However long they've been in the water
they
for,
have
I
to
assume that's
cough and
cartoon.
splutter.
That's cartoon
Yeah.
rules. Right? I assume that's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. The toons in this world run on a arcane and Byzantine list of rules.
Well,
and
Roger literally says later, and I won't spoil the scene or anything, but he does something that's would have solved a lot of problems earlier, and he goes, "You couldn't have done this earlier," and he's like, "Well, I could have, but it wouldn't have been funny."
Only when it was funny.
Only when it was funny, and it's that's kind of
that's-
seemingly the rules they run on.
Yeah.
So they can do so they can do this stuff provided it's funny.
I may or may not have used that exact line whenever Slows asked me why I did something the way I did it.
yeah, honestly,
Perfect.
I think.
I mean,
I've lived quite a lot of my life by that kind of ethos of I did this thing,
Yeah.
and it was stupid, but it was funny.
It's similar to the rules of DMing. It's technically that might not be allowed, but is it the most fun option that everyone's going to have the most fun with? Okay, fine, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right, Valiant takes Roger back to the bar to meet Dolores. And then this is the bit you're on about. I think really they try to go through various things to get the handcuffs off.
Oh no, it's because there's a secret, because it used to be a speakeasy, so there's a secret door and a secret room and there's a hole in one of the paintings, very classic, where you can peer out to see if there's any law enforcement in the area there to ruin your fun or shoot, I don't know, each other or you. Standard cop stuff.
Yeah, cop stuff.
And they're like, oh well, let's get some tools and we can. And they find there's a metal hand saw,
Like a hacksaw.
like a hacksaw. So that
He's
What
trying
I
to
find very concerning about that scene is that Dolores explains to Roger that they used to use that room for interrogations back when the Valiants were still active.
I forgot that.
Why are there woodworking tools in there?
Oh no.
I know. I did not put two and two together.
Didn't pick up on that.
Because they're like, watch me carve my Lord of the Rings chess set, and I don't even know what kind of wood I'm using. And it's like, please, no, you need Canadian maple. No, Lord of the Rings deserves Canadian maple. What are you doing? That's a special joke for wood people.
And I'm sure wood people will be furious at that joke.
Fuck wood people.
Would they?
Oh,
No.
When it comes to puns, you took a page out of my book. Sorry, I couldn't leave that alone. The look you're giving me, it wasn't that bad.
It was.
Oh, come on. Don't be a
pretty
sap.
Oh.
No, okay, right. Next. They try and
Not
saw the handcuffs
entertaining
off.
this any longer.
Okay. No need to
They
bark
try
about
to
it.
saw the cuffs off and do various things, and it ends up being awkward. So, yeah, he's like Valiant just says, "Here, hold this," and passes something to Roger, and Roger just grabs it, and then a second later he's like, "Wait, hang on," and he turns out he's just taking his hand out.
He's
of the
taking his
cuffs and-
hand out of the handcuff
To-
and he's
yeah.
holding it steady so he can saw
It's
it.
to hold the little table thing
Oh,
to
yeah,
hold it
yeah.
steady. He takes his hand out of the handcuff
Yeah.
to hold it steady.
Yeah, and he's like, you could have done that the whole time. He goes, yeah, but it wouldn't have been funny. And we're just like,
yeah, fair.
see, as a kid, that kind of silliness would like genuinely make me like, I would be boiling with rage. Like I couldn't watch The Simpsons for like a year because it just made me so genuinely mad when Homer did something stupid. So, but as an adult, and I'm like, haha, yeah, that would be annoying. Oh well.
It should be noted there was a line when they go into there. Dolores does say, "So tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you're just happy
Or are you
to
just
see
happy
me?"
to see me?
That's like 2 references
Fucking
to the
love that
dildo in
scene.
this movie. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I did at some point check when the rabbit dildo
Yeah,
was
like
released.
a couple of years before this movie.
I am so glad I'm not the only one that checked the release date of the rampant rabbit due to a couple of jokes in this movie.
Oh yeah, no,
The
no,
rampant
yeah,
rabbit is
I've got a
a,
note on this later on.
Yeah,
is a masturbatory aid.
it is.
That was revolutionary because people realised that the clitoris wasn't actually
A myth.
a paid invention to sell more trousers. I don't know.
Anyway, movie.
Hey, movie. Valiant goes back to the office, showers. Sexy music happens when he comes out the shower. Turns
I've
out
got
it's
pants, no shirt and tie. It's a look.
it's a look.
I have a fun fact about this scene.
Oh yes. Go.
He actually showered.
Well, no, but
Oh. Okay.
sorry, Snipe.
That's okay. It's not your
There
fault.
was a scene cut from this part of the film for timing, which explains why he goes back to his apartment to shower. He actually gets kidnapped by the weasels, and they dole out some Toontown style justice by
They rub
throwing
like
him.
salmon on him or something.
They throw him into Toontown in the middle of the night, and he gets thrown out of Toontown the next morning with an animated pig head stuck to him.
Oh.
So when he comes out of the bathroom in that scene, what he's actually been doing is washing the pig head off with turpentine out of a bottle under the shower head.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm glad they didn't keep that in because that's a bit too grim.
Yeah.
Really.
It was a really well animated sequence, and the work that Hoskins did with the shoulder rig they had to have him in so that they could animate over it was really good. But yeah, it wasn't fitting the pacing of the film, so they cut it out and put a toilet flushing sound over the top of where the shower would have been.
To make him look like he's one of those kids that when he used the urinal, he had to pull his trousers and pants all the way off.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
That's how I interpreted it anyway.
But yeah, there's your fun fact about that scene.
Okay. Because Roger's been left in the safe house. So.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, Jessica's there. She asks for help. Valiant pervs, just generic pervs.
And Bob Hoskins is sitting there going, there's no way to be this horny. And then it cuts to him in the movie theatre watching the preview going, it was that horny. It was double horny.
This is also where we get the famous line from Jessica, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way."
And as an artist, fucking hell, you are shitly drawn. If I met someone who drew you with a straight face, I'd punch them in the foreskin until they died. Non-actionable. But I fucking hate that kind of like...
I was going to say, you're going to have to take that up with Richard Williams, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, his name is Dick Williams.
His name is Dick Williams.
Dick Willie. Only someone called Dick Willie could draw Jessica fucking
He had
Rabbit.
no choice but to be that horny.
He was
I'm
like,
sorry.
I just got to be a pervert about a cartoon. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, that's fine. That was the design brief. I'm not angry at Dick Willie. It's fine.
It should be noted, one thing that's been missed is that Eddie is mentioned in the safe house. Eddie's theory as to what's going on is that Maroon is the one that killed Acme so that he could
PK
get his
Congo,
hands on Toontown.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, he's the big Walt Disney-esque kind of guy,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah. So yeah, Maroon wanted to blackmail Acme. Jessica helped to help out Roger.
Yeah, because she's like, I'll do anything for my husband, even play patty cake with other men. It's like, okay, so, you know, she's a I'm not going to say morally questionable, but she genuinely is willing to just like stoop to some really gruesome levels because she loves Roger so much.
Yeah,
And I
because
think that's
Maroon was like,
actually really
Roger will
sweet.
never work in this town again. If,
And she was like, guess I gotta play patty cake with this guy who looks a bit like Porky Pig, probably. Whatever, it's fine.
She's a much better character in the film than she is in the book and in the original script. Put it that way.
Imagine.
Throughout all this, Valiant accidentally headbutts her boobs and then has the most look of like childlike glee.
I
don't know if
Jessica is so anime.
I'm going to be honest, if I hit a boob and it made that noise, I'd probably giggle as well.
I think all of us
Same.
would. Yeah. I'd be like,
But the point is that like it didn't make that noise to him, and he still looks that happy. Like
Bob
filming
Hoskins
it. It's like,
is a
he's-
badass.
Yeah.
Wow.
To be honest, I think it probably did make that noise for him.
Yeah,
like
okay.
in universe, obviously.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I meant filming it. Like,
Oh no, he's just a really good actor.
He's just
He's
an
just
amazing
really good,
actor.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mad
that's what I
respect
meant,
for Bob
yeah.
Hoskins. Also, he played Jerry Halliwell in the Spice World movie.
What?
He did. Okay, everyone remember where the Spice Girls are thinking about like what they would be if they weren't like pop stars, and Jerry's thinking of like she's like dressed as Wonder Woman, but it's like a UK flag kind of like coded Wonder Woman, and she goes into a red phone box, spins around, and comes out as Bob Hoskins, and goes, girl power, equalization between the sexes, ooh, and in her voice, and then just walks off as Bob Hoskins. And it's the best part of the movie.
It may shock you to know, but I have never seen Spice World.
I have also never seen Spice World.
Okay, it's a really.
Do we need to watch Spice World?
It's
for this,
it's a
this
really
podcast?
stupid movie, but there are so many English people in there that I just like. Look, the English celebrities. As an Australian child, I was just like, the fuck is that guy? Because Stephen Fry is the judge in a memory in a flash. Not flashback. It's like
A dream sequence?
It's like a dream sequence. And he's like, oh, guilty, smashes the thing, goes, it says, call Gary Barlow. And I kept having to look at my mum, who was English, and going, who's that? And she's like, "That's
Gary
Stephen
Barlow
Fry."
is the bloke. He's the bloke who wrote the Paddington theme tune.
And I was like, who's Gary Barlow? And she was like, some other famous British guy who gives a fuck. But yeah, I will
talking
find
about
that.
Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
I have a fun fact about Bob Hoskins as well.
Okay.
Is he single? Carry on.
He wasn't originally going to be Eddie Valiant either.
Oh.
Oh my god.
They
what?
were originally hoping for like a Harrison Ford type.
Ooh,
What?
no.
What? I'm just imagining Blade Runner, but the "You Look Lonely," which I know is from the new, is like from a new one, but it's just Jessica Rabbit and it's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, so they wanted that kind of character, or that kind of actor to play Eddie, and then again, Bob Zemeckis, absolute MVP. It's just like, okay, so I worked with this guy on Romancing the Stone, and I think he might be a good fit. And the casting team looked him up, looked at what he was like, because he was basically unknown in Hollywood because he'd done one major Hollywood movie at that point and was just known for being in a lot of British stuff. And they went, yeah, let's get him in. And it was the best decision they ever made.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine Eddie being played by literally any other person.
Right, where are we up to? So yeah. So Dolores saw all of this.
Dolores-saurus, you say?
Dolores saw all of the
Kerfuffle?
Valiant eyeing up Jessica, and she's not happy. But she tells him that she went to probate, and turned out at midnight Cloverleaf will own all of Toontown because they're the highest bidder. And unless anything happens, unless there's a will found, it's going to this random ominous company.
Which does mean that Maroon, even though he was involved in blackmailing Roger, is not after Toontown, so something is afoot.
So he's not the killer.
Right, so they head back to the bar to find Roger out of the hiding thing and just dancing on the bar.
He's just making everyone in the bar real
He's
happy.
just-
He's just
yeah.
entertaining everybody.
I love
you
that
can't help it.
sequence. I love it so much.
I love the record skip and he keeps smashing plates.
No pain.
Yep.
Judge Doom shows up after a tip-off from the Weasels, who've seen where they are, tries to bribe people to rat Roger out, and he offers them $5,000.
$5,000, which in today's
Which is-
money is $71,336.28.
Yeah. And to their credit, no one does. No one takes
Yeah.
them up on this offer. It looks
We
like they
ain't no
might for a
finks.
second, but no one does.
No, they
Yeah,
ain't
there's the
finks.
one guy that Eddie's like, because Roger and Eddie are in the safe room at this point.
Yeah, what?
And he's like, yeah, this one guy, he's definitely going to rat us out. And he's like, oh yeah, I seen a rabbit. And then he puts his arm around like a fake person next to him, and he's like, "Say hello to Harvey,"
Which is a fun reference.
referencing the movie Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Or I choose to
Naughty
believe doing a reference, breaking the time stream, making an actual reference to Farscape is what I choose
Obviously,
to believe.
that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
definitely.
That there is actually hidden layers to that Harvey reference as well.
Yeah.
So in Who Censored Roger Rabbit, Roger's actually auditioning for the part of the human in a reverse Harvey stage play.
Okay,
So it's also a bit of a reference to the book.
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Doom notices the record and then works out that Roger is somewhere around. So does a something that would only work with tunes and does the shaving a haircut trick. The
Too big.
And we found the tune!
Yeah.
It's Hobbo. Hobbo's the tune. It's them.
Did we ever expect otherwise?
Doom tries to dip Roger. Valiant manages to persuade him to let Roger have a last drink, which obviously sets him
Roger's
off.
like, no, he does the bit where it's like, I don't want some. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. No, you don't. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Very old.
Yeah, so yeah, they do the back and forth, trying to get him to have a drink, which obviously sets him off, bursts all the glasses, causes general chaos. They escape and they steal a car, and it turns out it's the Toon patrol car, but
Yeah, it's
it
the
hasn't-
Weasel's
it's
car.
That's it. But they can't find any keys to start it. But it turns out there's another car inside because it's like a police, lock-up car.
It's like a
van.
tantrum wagon.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
But it's got another Toon car. Is this a famous Toon car, or is
No.
this just something from this film?
No, Benny was designed specifically for the movie.
Huh, okay.
He's a taxi. He's a Toon taxi, and
Yeah.
he's driving.
And he's been locked up, so they use that. And then we get a car chase. Yes, I wasn't expecting a car
pretty good.
chase.
I do like that Benny was arrested because he just drove on the sidewalk, just for a couple of miles.
At
Yep.
first.
Benny has probably my favourite line in the whole film as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, what do you call the middle of a song?
A bridge.
Yep.
That was a bridge too far.
But car chase.
Yeah, car chase happens. They end up getting away and hide in a cinema. Valiant doesn't enjoy the cartoon that's showing.
Which is absolutely criminal because it's the best Goofy cartoon ever.
It's also a continuity error because that came out after 1947.
Worst
I
movie.
know. I know.
But it's such a good example. They were like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
If you're that good, you're allowed. It's
Yeah.
fine.
There is a lot of interesting stuff around the fact that they used that specific short as well because that was in production at the same time as Who Framed Roger Rabbit was in production, which is probably why it made it into the film. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
So yeah, he's not having a good time in there. Roger asks what's up, and this is where Valiant says a Toon killed his brother, and then goes into the actual story behind it a bit, and he says the Toon who did it had burning red eyes and a squeaky voice.
Which is pretty spookums.
Because the Toon had robbed a bank. It was the actual Toontown bank.
It was robbed the Toontown bank and then led them on a merry chase and then, like, trapped his brother and then dropped, like, a piano on his head and killed him.
Yeah, and it broke Eddie's arm as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they never caught him, but all he remembers is him
His
laughing
horrible
and
voice and
burning
his
eyes
red,
and squeaky
red
voice.
eyes,
Yeah.
Leading to an amount of bonding between the two characters.
Yeah.
I always really like there's a little bit where Roger like goes like finds out it's like, oh yeah, Toon come up and he's like, oh, a Toon, no. And he's like so
Yeah.
earnest.
He's so earnestly like, oh no!
Yeah,
And
he's
he's
like-
like, no wonders you're so racist. Racism!
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how absolutely phenomenal Charles Fleischer is as the voice of Roger Rabbit? Bearing in mind the only major movie he'd been in before this was A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Whoa, who did he play? I love that movie.
He's the Doctor.
Oh, I did not realise that.
Really?
Yep.
Oh my! The man has range. He has range.
Not only that, but he was so committed to his role as Roger that he turned up to the set every single day in a Roger Rabbit costume.
That was a kink thing. That's not professional. That's a kink thing. I'm sorry. I mean, good on you, bro.
It was just
but...
to help the physical actors get into the spirit
Yeah.
of what they needed to be doing and what they were going to be acting against for when the animation was put in.
Honestly,
and I love that level of commitment.
That is,
Yeah.
having a little bit of stage experience, that would actually genuinely help me. So I get it. I get
Well,
it.
if it makes you feel any better, Snipe, I am wearing my Roger Rabbit costume right now.
Yeah, but that is a kink thing.
No, I just wanted to get into the spirit of things.
Okay, well, I mean, if it helps, John Matt's wearing his, like, Bob Hoskins butt plug, so...
Well then.
Does that
That's
exist?
drama, Matt.
I need to know if that exists.
Do not Google it.
Let me Google it. I'll Google
You can Google
don't
it.
worry.
I'll carry on with
I
what
am
actually
the
happened.
podcast Googler.
Yeah. Okay. So Dolores comes and joins them at the thing, at the cinema. They end up making up and nearly kissing, but gets stopped by Roger.
But no, Roger is like, okay, so there's a character I play in Hobos in our Star Wars 5e session, and my character in that basically would act exactly like how Roger does in this, where they're about to kiss and having a really tender moment, and he's just leaning on the back of the chairs, staring at them like 2 feet away, being like, "Oh, don't mind me." And it's like ears are turning into like a love heart and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, no, you've ruined my boner. Thanks so much."
Cheers, Rabbit.
Yeah.
And then we
That
get
random
a
insertion of my character bullshit was brought to you by Neurodivergence.
we get a newsreel, like they used to have at cinemas and things, revealing that Cloverleaf, the ominous company, has bought Maroon Studios as well as the Trolley Company and soon, Toontown.
Which is funny because that's what fucking Disney are doing now.
I mean, they did like in the 60s.
Yeah, I know. But like, it's really obvious to see now because we have access to the internet and this is a lot more easily accessible information as well. So shut your butthole. Put that Bob Hoskins butt plug back in.
I ain't got it.
Oh God, where's it gone?
It's Matt's turn.
Didn't have the right sort of
Oh
bass.
dear.
Did you like my noise?
Bob Hoskins' surprisingly unflared bass.
Don't say that. Which actor do you think has the most flared bass? Leave a
Anyway,
comment.
Eddie makes the connection then about whole Cloverleaf and everything. So it's like, So,
Right,
so they
so-
go to Maroon.
They go to Maroon under pretense of having the will.
Yeah.
Valiant goes in while Roger keeps lookout for all of about 2 seconds before being knocked out by Jessica.
But we don't know it's Jessica. We
Oh,
just
do
see
we
a
not?
hand come in with
okay,
a fry
yeah,
pan
yeah.
and go bong and then
Bong,
drag him
okay.
away.
Meanwhile, upstairs, Maroon discovers that the will that Valiant has is actually the love letter from Roger. When he reads it, he goes, "This isn't right."
And you go, wait, look at all this previously invisible ink. Oh.
Because Maroon's thing is that he sold to Cloverleaf, but the condition was only if Acme also sold to Cloverleaf, so Maroon was trying to blackmail Acme so that he would also sell. That's what the blackmailing was actually all about.
Huh.
And that's all that's all the whole Toontown thing. He's got no part in that. And that he can't say any more, or he's a dead man.
Oh no.
I may have missed bits here. So Valiant sprays him with water and then hits him and steals a gun. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, yep. And then puts him in there's a voice recorder thingy. I never quite worked out what this was. Is it just a...
It's a film reel editor.
Okay.
He's literally... Because what Eddie threatens to do is... He wants Maroon to spin him the story of greed, lies, sex, and murder, and the parts he doesn't like, he's going to edit out, which is a really good animation threat.
Yeah.
Valiant had been thinking about that since he walked into that office. He's like, oh man, I hope I get to brutalize that guy because I've got a real zinger.
He's like, I got that loaded in. It's going to be so fucking good. Ugh. That's what half of being a successful PI is
Coming up with
thinking
zingers.
up good zingers. Yeah.
This is the bit that you said. Maroon said he wanted to sell the studio, but Cloverleaf would only buy it if they got Toontown as well. Acme wouldn't sell it, so Maroon got the pics for Jessica and Acme to blackmail him to sell, as he said. Maroon says that Toontown will be demolished, but just as he says that, he gets shot.
By a comically large gun from the window.
Very like Jack Nicholson in '89 Batman length kind of gun.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck, it's the Joker!
That was a good couple of years for comedically long guns.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I hope I'm in a headcanon that the Joker was hired by the perpetrator. That's before he became the Joker, when he was still doing kind of smaller jobs for Grissom and earning his keep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, whoever shot Maroon also tries to get Valiant too, but it doesn't manage it. And then Valiant...
Because his gun is too big.
And through the window, Valiant sees Jessica running away from the scene.
In the most anime, sexiest, my tits are bigger than any other part of my body combined.
I mean, this is just Jessica
Her tits are as big as the rest of her.
She breastily breasts away.
She boobily tits leftwards.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I've stolen I just added more, verbs. Verbs?
It's okay. I stole it from a misogynist who's really bad at writing, so...
That does not narrow it down.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
She breasted boobily and titted downwards.
Anyway, Bob Hoskins breasts boobily away and
He
gives
fucking
chase.
does, am I
he goes downstairs
right?
to chase. We get another car chase scene.
Pretty dope.
But when Jessica drives through into the tunnel into Toontown.
Which is honestly, epileptics can't go to Toontown. They will just explode.
I will point out this tunnel is the same tunnel from Back to the Future Part 2.
It is.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is that the one that Biff gets...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Biff Tannen... Younger Biff Tannen could get it. Not older one. No, but especially when he's when he's the cowboy... Hello, howdy. When he's
okay, we can talk about how much you're attracted to Tom Wilson in other movie podcasts.
He's big.
He's not in this movie.
But I want him to be.
I have a fun fact about Toontown and the entrance to Toontown, which I think probably only Wib will really appreciate, but
What
he'd like to hear it.
Yeah,
Okay, we probably should just talk about the thing with the gun before going in, because that's when we hit Toontown.
Yes, good point.
Okay, so he gets out a big old cartoon gun with some
racially upsetting stereotype bullets.
Mm-hmm.
He gets his cartoon gun out, decides then and there to stop. He goes to have a drink and says, no, I'm not. He decides not to do that. Gets
You
back
ever
in the
been
car
that kind of man where you got to pick between your gun and the inherent masculine urge to do violence and just being sad and drunk? See, when you put it like that, sounds miserable.
The inside of his Toon gun case does say that it was a present from Yosemite Sam, by the way.
Which he shows up earlier, and he doesn't really interact with him too.
Yeah, well, it was on the down low, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
He gave him a good old low 5.
yeah.
Also,
He was jerked
Yosemite
off by
Sam's
Yosemite
ass
Sam.
was on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those bullets really make me uncomfortable.
But yeah,
That's fair.
because he throws his like he pours the whiskey out and then he hurls it into the sky and shoots it with the cartoon gun, firing out the Native American stereotype bullet that smashes it with a tomahawk.
Pretty sure the cowboy bullet is voiced by the guy who voices Tigger.
Is that Jim
Among
Cummings?
many
Jim
other
Cummings?
characters. Jim Cummings, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
yes.
he voices so many fucking people.
Yeah, he's a startling amount of the Toon cast of this movie.
Oh, yes.
But that's because Jim Cummings is a startling amount of the Toon cast of anything.
Yeah,
Everything.
for real, though.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he voiced me at some point.
Yeah, probably.
Right, after that, he gets back in the car, goes down the tunnel, goes to Toontown. Do you want to jump in with your fact? What was that relevant for?
I would love to.
Yes, go ahead.
So, when they get into Toontown, obviously it's
Not
all
very sexy.
colourful and bright and sunny and cheerful.
The sun is
and
actively
animated.
singing at people, which nightmare
sing-
fuel.
It's singing a song called "Smile, Darn You Smile" as well.
It's oddly threatening.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not oddly.
That-
It just is threatening.
That sequence was designed by the lead animation designer for the original DuckTales series, who was working on that at the same time as he was working on DuckTales and was splitting his days, half at Amblin Entertainment working on Roger Rabbit and half at Disney Studios working on DuckTales.
Oh, wow.
That is fucking commitment.
I know, right? He
Oh
only
my
did it for a
God.
couple of weeks before he was pulled full-time onto The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, get fed, honey.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, get
He
paid.
was just animating,
Everything.
everyone's
Everything.
childhood at the same time.
Absolute boss. Wow.
But yeah, it also, I do like Toontown, when they go into Toontown, that's another moment of pause it at any one point and like there's three,
It's like a Where's
there'll be
Wally?
three like cameos you will recognise and like 8 you don't.
Oh, yeah.
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 Like it's just a
Disney
treasure
trotted out all the merry melodies for,
Yeah,
for Toontown.
just every like there's just stuff happening all over the place. There's like even little gags like you see on the floor. There is a cow pie, a pie with like horns because it's in the country.
Yep.
Like because a cow pie
Yeah.
being another name for a cow pat.
It's a poopy.
It's a poopy.
It's a big cow. But
And also personally made me think of the dandy, but we don't want to think about that.
it made me think of the girl I went
Oh
to
my
school
god,
with.
the dandy.
And that weird, like, cult private school I went to. And she was obsessed with horses. And because the cult school was out in the countryside, there was always piles of horse and cow shit everywhere. And she would, like, football kick horse shit all over the place. And I remember being like, Jenny, could you fucking cut that out? And she's like, just grass and water. And I was
Well-
like, okay, carry on then.
Personally, I try not to touch things that have been through a large animal's digestive system first, no matter how benign they may be.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. But she was just like, no, I love kicking horse shit. It's
Okay,
great. But yeah, I
right.
just wanted to... I hope Jenny's doing okay wherever you are.
Kicking horse shit.
Yeah. In the fucking woods.
But yeah, so a lot is going on in Toontown.
Too much. Any adult with sensory issues would just spin on their heels and run the fuck in the opposite direction.
I imagine it does make some people foam at the mouth, yes.
Yeah. Like, for real.
Not as much as the joke that's coming up.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, Valiant gets the lift up to Jessica's place. But
Doing up here.
Because he crashes his car.
Your floor,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I love Droopy so much.
Me too.
He's such a prick.
but the
Yes,
lift
Droopy
onto-
is manning the elevator.
yeah,
On a box.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
He's a good boy.
No.
so he gets the lift up to what he thinks is Jessica's place, but it turns out it's the wrong place or something. And then
yes.
Nina Hyena's there.
Lena
yeah.
Hyena.
Lena Hyena.
Yep.
Which is funny because you thought it was Smoking Hot Anime Woman, but it turns out to be a woman who isn't attractive, and that's a problem. Because you know what those unattractive women are like? They're ravenous sex pests, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
She is trying to sexually assault Bob Hoskins, so I do
Yeah.
feel there is a degree of sympathy that is maybe lessened.
Yeah, but also it is making a joke of men being sexually assaulted, which is really disgusting. It's
No one
we're
looks good.
cancelling this movie.
No one looks good right now.
No one looks good right now.
Yep. He escapes, but leaves the building, and then cartoon falls, as in, like, you know, falls when he realises that he's in the air. On the way down, meets Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse.
And Mickey Mouse. So they have the equal amount of screen time. I
Yeah,
noticed.
that was the thing, wasn't it? Like
That was
Yeah,
required.
they had
yes.
to get exactly the same.
It's like Sonic and Mario, but someone actually gave a shit and didn't make their first game the Olympics or whatever.
Yeah, it's like every time there's like a major like Warner Brothers character or Disney character on screen, they are also with their counterparts.
Hence, Donald Duck
Yeah.
and Daffy
Yeah.
Duck,
Yeah.
the
And
racist.
neither of them being better at piano than the other.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Being
So
quite
the
a
Mickey and
stalemate.
Bugs one was actually a contractual requirement, and if that hadn't been met, then none of the other Warner Brothers characters would have made it into the film.
To be fair, I will credit where it's due. You can usually tell one of those a mile away, but this was integrated pretty well.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was quite well kind of like smoothed in there. So
Because they're skydiving and
Yeah, they have parachutes.
yeah.
he's like, skydiving without a parachute, are you? And he's like, yes.
It's like, you don't happen to have a spare, do you? And he's like, oh, I do have a spare, but I don't think you're gonna like
Isn't
it.
it like a tire?
Yeah, it's a tire. It's a spare tire.
I hate this joke so much. I don't know why, but
That was the joke you were talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah. I was puzzling about which one you were thinking of, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, on the way down, he does also grab hold of a flagpole, and then Tweety Bird comes out and
Tweety
Yes.
Bird, who loves murder.
who tries to murder him by removing
Playing
his
this little
fingers.
piggy.
Yeah.
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 It's
fucking
like,
hell.
okay, fucking...
So I'm starting to think that maybe Eddie's got some good reasons for not liking Toons, considering that in the last 5 minutes,
He's been assaulted by multiple of them.
he has had multiple Toons attempt to murder him.
Yep.
But yeah, so he's falling, gets offered a spare, but it turns out, it's a spare tyre, not a spare parachute. He lands,
Because-
but is caught by Hyena.
Who is notably, if you haven't seen the movie, is just not a hyena, is just a
She's
character.
just a woman who is supposed to be not attractive.
Is quote unquote
Yeah.
an ugly version of Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica.
Which is
Yeah.
literally like, according to some weirdos, like some like very, very online dudes, is literally every woman who isn't like put through 47 South Korea K-pop filters.
I mean,
So it's like, okay,
yeah. But anyway,
I rock the Lena Hyena every day. I'm not fucking impressed.
Yeah. Lena is bad, and she's drawn that way.
yeah.
but as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets away by tricking her into running into a wall. Full, like,
Because
cartoon
Toons.
style.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
pulls,
cartoons.
pulls the road marking away, so into
Yeah.
the wall, and it's the
I
whole
always
thing.
wished I could have done that as a kid. Not as an adult.
Yeah.
I don't look back and go, that would have been advantageous. But like at the time, I was like, God, how cool would that be if you could just do that?
Valiant goes down an alley and finds Jessica Rabbit aiming a gun at him. But actually, it turns out that she's aiming a gun just past him to someone behind. And yeah, this is where we found out Doom killed Maroon.
You're telling me that
Shock
Judge
horror.
Doom
Yeah.
was involved in this plot?
He's been
I
involved
do-
the whole time.
The thing I kind of like is that
How long have you known?
is that you don't see the person that Jessica is shooting at, and then Jessica's like, "Oh, it's Doom. He's the one that's behind all this." And then in it almost feels like there was supposed to be something else that happened after that, where it didn't just then cut to the silhouette of Judge Doom running away, going like, "Ha! You can't stop me."
Base.
It feels like there was supposed to be at least, it wasn't just then to instantly cut to Doom being like, "Lol, I totally did it."
Then he published a book saying, "This is what I'd do if I did frame Roger Rabbit." But yeah, and this is where I get to shine. I get to talk about something I like. Gun.
Gun.
I like gun. Just the one of them. I haven't found that one yet, but I'm sure it's out there. He pulls out his cartoon gun and he fires. And just fails miserably. And he looks at his gun and he's like, dum-dums. Which is funny. Because, I mean, if you know the history about dum-dum rounds, that's...
As we all do.
For those of you who don't know, dum-dum rounds are also they're a type of expanding bullet, and what they're supposed to do is their intention is that they minimize over-penetration of a bullet, which means that they basically, instead of when you get shot with a normal bullet, it goes through because it's like, it pierces you. Dum-dums, again, they are expanding bullets. They expand on impact, which basically means they blow huge fucking chunks out of you. They are banned fucking everywhere because they are so fucking brutal. You don't want them. They're actually named after a Native American settlement, I think, around. Let's not think about why that might be.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so it's like, haha, that's a type of ammunition, but also it's a word for someone who's maybe a bit of a silly billy. Haha, that's fun. But yeah, thank you.
Because the bullets totally didn't notice the guy ducking down an alley.
Yeah, they went and got pizza or something. I can't fucking remember. They were like, it's probably fine. Thank you for letting me talk
this
about
has been
bullets.
Snipe's Gun Corner.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, it's about bullets, but sure.
They go back to the car and try and find Roger in the boot, but he's gone.
One of my notes just says, after this, capitalism added again, and I'm like, yes, but what's that a reference to specifically?
I have no idea what that note is in reference to.
I know what it is. It's the end scene in the
it's much later.
The confrontation.
Wow, there really is a big chunk missing out of your notes.
I think,
you know what? Just zone out for 10 minutes.
I was thinking about guns for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's actually, I need medication.
Oh, yeah, no, wow, yeah, there's like...
Because that's directly after the dum-dum talk, so I was watching it, but thinking about, like, firearms.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in this movie at this point, and there's, like, whole 5-minute chunks of movie missing between your notes that are, like, really absurd statements. Okay, yeah, Matt, carry on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I need medicine.
Right. So they're wanting to head off, but they're disagreeing about directions. And while they're trying to point, Valiant sticks his thumb out, which we didn't mention at the time, but that's what summons
Benny.
It doesn't.
Yes.
The thing is, Benny does say earlier on in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but the thing is, he does say, "Stick your thumb out," and it will mystically fucking summon me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toon rules.
Toon rules, yeah.
Yeah, Toon rules. So it does, like, it makes him physically manifest in front of them.
Yeah.
Why are you being weird about it?
I just don't. I think it's just Toon logic. I feel like putting magic into it is like a different
level.
level.
It was magic. I was just kind of like, as in like,
there's Toon shit and there's magic shit.
I took the bins out earlier, and then there was magically this fucking thing. It's not me. I don't mean literal magic.
We are dealing with something where being literal ends with literal things happening.
I am going to destroy your life.
Right. My next note just says more perving. I can't even honestly remember what happens at this point, but
that's because
more perving.
Isn't that when they... No, that's a little bit later. It's like the whole, you see Jessica Rabbit's pussy or something, but you don't actually, and it just looked like that, and then they just covered it up.
I think what you might be thinking there is, so when they've got in the car, and they get in Benny and they leave.
They get inside Benjamin.
Yeah, and on the
weird when you say like that.
Live action side of the tunnel, Doom has then like kicked over a thing of dip.
A dip barrel.
So that when Benny comes through the tunnel, his tires get caught in that, and so it effectively bursts all his tires and puts him in agonizing pain.
That was fucking awful. I was like, this is horrible.
Yeah,
but I mean, it is Doom, so yeah.
And Eddie and Jessica are tossed from him onto the grass verge, so they're safe from the dip, and that's where an infamous scene happens where you can kind of sort of see up Jessica's dress, but not really, but kind of.
Before they leave the car. Sorry, Abby.
You go first.
I was saying before we get to that bit, just while they're in the car, Jessica reveals that Acme told her that Doom wanted Toontown, so he gave the will to Jessica to have, but it turned out it was a blank piece of paper.
Oh,
Blank.
there's no visible ink on that paper, listeners. The fuck are we supposed to do about it?
Yeah.
No visible ink. You see? Oh, it's terrible. Because if we can't see it with the naked eye, it doesn't exist. Oh no.
Yeah.
Isn't this
And
also
then-
where he asks, like, he asks, like, what do you see in Roger? And
He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Which, I
You know
get
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Same.
Yeah.
I get it.
Then they go through the tunnel. They drive through the dip.
Dip.
Um,
Poor Benny and his
So-
scorched feet.
Yeah.
He crashed into a lamppost as well. I feel really bad for Benny.
I'd rather crash into a lamppost than just
He
like
just gets
rub
really
my
messy.
bare
Yeah, he'll
feet
be fine
on
with the
acid.
lamppost thing.
Yeah,
The lamppost thing is fine.
He's a
for him,
toon. He can
but-
bounce back from that.
Yeah, but he
the
doesn't
actual-
look. He doesn't look great from it.
No.
Yeah, but it's because it's funny.
I don't think anything about it
No,
was
nothing
funny.
about this is funny. But the thing is, Dip does actually like
Yeah, that does really mess me up.
always
Yeah.
kills toons, whereas like smashing into a lamppost is fine. He'll bounce back. Yeah.
So that scene is, as we've already mentioned, it's very infamous, because the story used to go that disgruntled animators that gotten fired from the animation side of the team had deliberately altered the original version of the cells,
God.
so
Can
that
I
it
just
looked
very-
like she wasn't wearing any underwear.
Can I just very quickly say, because I like the occasional creepypasta, not because they're good, because they're not. There's only like 2 good creepypastas, sorry. But the amount of times where it's like, there was a disgruntled animator on SpongeBob who snuck in a scene. It's like, this scene lasted 5 minutes and one dude did all of it? Fuck you.
Yep.
That would take him 6 years. Fuck off. It pisses me off because they're like, and then Squidward jerked off a truck. I don't fucking know. And it's just like, okay, that's a lot of work. Did he find out that he was being fired and he was like, well, I've got 3 hours left to make a suicide animation or something? And he just had like a fucking weapons grade Adderall intake and then just went fucking crazy.
Yeah, maybe.
It's very annoying. But sorry, Hobolito, carry on.
No, it's okay. So that was the theory that was flying around online for the longest time. But interview archives seem to suggest that it was always sort of designed that Jessica wears skin-coloured underwear because of her performance role. She wears things that, leave a little bit more to the imagination, shall we say. So it was always animated like that. It always looked a bit like she was showing off stuff she shouldn't be showing off, but she is wearing underwear.
Yeah, isn't it like on some like modern prints of it, they have recolored the like 3 frames, so it is white now. I read that somewhere.
I think they have. I don't have a modern press of it. I have one of the early DVD releases of it. So
you've got all the
Not
rabbit
100% sure
puss.
then.
No, I shouldn't.
I'm
say
not. I felt that if I was to watch the version that's on Disney Plus and carefully freeze frame it at that point, I felt like that
There'd
was.
be a picture of a man looking disapprovingly at
Yeah,
you.
I felt like I felt that's at the point at which I probably get a phone call from my mum saying like, I don't know why, but I'm very disappointed in you.
No,
so,
but I
you know.
sensed you've disappointed me, and I wanted to just
So I-
talk to you about that.
So yeah, I thought best not to do that.
Yeah, fair.
supposedly the only existing original version of those cells is the Laserdisc version, which is exceptionally expensive and
God,
really not worth it for 3 seconds of potential puss.
I mean, that's what the internet's for. And honestly, 3
exactly.
3 seconds of potential puss, incredible band
And
name
if you want to watch an animated movie,
for perverts.
if you want to watch an animated movie where you get to see some nudity, just go watch The Rescuers in its early prints.
Oh yeah, there's a topless
exactly.
woman. Or go
There
watch a
is
live.
indeed.
If you want like weird like.
There's a legitimate like actual photo of like a topless woman in The Rescuers, which is in like a background shot. You can only see it if you freeze frame. You would never notice it until like you got the ability to like have a home copy of it and freeze frame it.
Okay.
And it's been removed from like modern
I am
prints
just
of it.
constantly with older media. I'm constantly being reminded that we didn't have access to like porn online.
Oh,
the internet
yeah.
was just not. So you had to get what you fucking got. So can you imagine? Like, because I remember hearing like, oh, if you look at like this movie, and you get to see someone's butt or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'll have to go.
You have to
There you
remember.
go.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
that's
go and watch the butt movie.
no, because then you had to go. Okay, shit, I don't own that on VHS because that's so fucking expensive, and it's not been out long enough so that they've got it on like licenses to the local TV. But it's been out long enough that I can get it at the rental place. But it is in the secondary tier bracket, which is like $5 for one night instead of $2 for a week. So I have to fucking go and I have to save up. Then Mum will be asking me, "Why do you want this movie?
Why?
You never showed it." And I'm just like,
Why have you rented Basic Instinct? That's really
I
weird.
just wanted to see the movie. And then you've got to go and you've got to look fucking Giancarlo in the face. We had like a big, like it was a strip of like shops all owned by an Italian family. And they were really nice. I got to go look Giancarlo in the face and tell him why I want to buy fucking Basic Instinct overnight. And he's going to be like, "It's because of the butt, isn't it?" And I'm like, "I don't want to watch it now." And then I go home and I feel like an idiot.
A very relatable story.
This is, everyone's been there.
I mean, the thing is, you got to remember that until, like, you know, the internet became widespread, the only way that people were actually able to acquire pornography was
Bushes.
Was from bushes.
Bush porn,
was
yeah.
finding it in a bush, or
Poundland, as Drummer Matt has found out.
or from Poundland.
Well, that's a very early MisanthroPod title. That was our best performing because we accidentally clickbaited everyone.
Bravo.
Oh, it was great. Anyway,
Right,
yes.
back onto Jessica Rabbit's pussy.
Yeah, so car crash, they're out on the side, Weasels arrive, Doom tells them to put Valiant and Jessica in the lock-up van thing.
Tantrum wagon.
Take them to Acme warehouse.
That's where all the stuff is.
Where stuff's happening.
Oh my god.
The Weasels frisk Valiant, find nothing. Then they frisk Jessica.
Yes, they do. Where he like rolls up his sleeve and fucking deep dives into her cleavage.
Yeah.
Like she's got a
finds-
coral reef down there.
And finds a booby trap.
It's like a bear trap. Yeah.
It's a nice booby trap.
Yeah.
I have heard this is the one bit where there was actually genuine, like, Jessica Rabbit nudity animated for a lark by the animators. But it was never in any actual print.
That sounds like a very internal thing.
Like a tit
it wouldn't
comes
go
out,
that.
like-
It wouldn't go to like
Yeah.
print.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, "Hey, look, check it out.
Yeah.
I drew her areola," and they'd be like, "Dang, Roger, that." Well, it's not Roger.
I-
It's like,
if-
"Damn, Robert, that's really cool."
Okay, I'm going to say that if you know, the more you know about, like,
Artists.
animators for, like, Disney and Warner Brothers and things, like, back in the day, oh my god, they drew so much porn of the characters they were animating.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Seven Dwarfs, like
Yeah.
weird conveyor belt fucking or whatever it was.
They just... There were...
People were so starved for pornography.
Well, the thing is, like, the animators were, like, it was all guys at that point, and, like, it was just... I think the only place that the women were allowed were the painting and I think occasionally backgrounds, like, back in the day.
You can't have a dame do anything important.
So, like old Hollywood animators, it was a real boys' club.
Gee, really?
Like, even more
In
so
Hollywood,
than the
at
rest.
least.
Yeah.
The team that worked on Roger Rabbit, however, very different story.
Oh,
That's
wow.
much later, so yeah.
That's cool though. But yeah, so there's a booby trap.
Yes.
Yep. We cut to Roger coming out the tunnel and sees Benny, with his poor melty feet.
That's so horrible.
I do
So-
like how he exits in a Valiant's car that is comedically destroyed from Roger having driven it for about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then doesn't
Jessica
Benny drive
mentions
that car?
earlier
Yeah,
on
Benny-
that
yeah.
Roger can't drive as well.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Benny gets into Roger's car and then drives it, which is... he's a
it's
good
like-
driver. Of course he's a good driver. Checks out.
No. He's a taxi. He is not a good fucking driver.
He's a better driver than Roger.
Yeah. He's not going to
Also,
damage the car.
if I remember rightly, that's the point when Roger goes, "Benny, is that you?" And Benny goes, "No, it's Shirley Temple."
Yeah. Like, just the day he forgets his autograph book, honestly.
Back at the warehouse, Doom reveals that he owns Cloverleaf.
And we're all like, "Oh, no way.
Oh, gee, really?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Roger sneaks. And I put in
Most
brackets,
evil man you know.
Owns ominous company. Roger sneaks-ish in.
Well, legally, you could describe it as that.
Doom reveals a vehicle?
Murder.
He reveals his war rig.
Yeah, he's like, check out my looted wagon.
Yeah, that is a very good way. If you haven't seen the film, if you're the only other person in the world apart from me who hadn't seen this film at this point, a looted wagon is quite a good visual aid for this.
Yeah, it is just a looted fucking wagon.
Just with a big old like vat on top that is full of.
It's like
almost full of dip.
Cum.
It's like a giant street sweeper truck thing that's
with a fire
is to
hose
scatter dip all over the place because Doom has revealed his big plan that he wants to use this vehicle to just destroy the entirety of Toontown and build because there's a freeway being built alongside it.
This is my capitalism at it again.
Yeah, it's where the capitalism at it again.
He's like, so many lanes, so efficient. And I have just had
wants to build service stations, hotels and billboards. By God, it'll be beautiful. And I was sitting there watching it and going like, is Doom supposed to be like a play on like Robert Moses?
I think, maybe. Explain who he is.
Oh,
he's like a city planner.
He was like a city planner. He was on the East Coast. We're on the West Coast. But he was famous for building roads through like black neighborhoods, destroying them
because he was a
colossal piece of shit.
Also, I do want to take this moment to be like, so let's say that Doom drives this looted wagon and just sprays literally everything around it in dip. What is left?
Well, the warehouse itself is all like
but in Toontown,
real life physical stuff. So
yeah, but you get to Toontown. Would it just be
nothing.
the blackness of entropy?
Would it just go down to the center of the earth? Is that what you're asking?
That's a very good question.
No, I'm just asking what would remain.
Like,
would there be anything physical?
Is
there real world underneath it?
Yeah, is Toontown just built on top of real world,
or would it be like,
very
the
good
dip?
question.
Yeah. Let's say you have.
How far down does Toontown go? Is the question. How far up does Toontown go as well?
Yeah.
Is there like Toon space above it?
Yeah. Is there like where you obviously you have a sun, so they have their own, at least their own version of the sun. There.
We're getting into some real like heavy conceptual things.
This is what's been bugging me, and it's like, okay, so. But then again, you go, okay, so what if you spray all of Toontown, and then let's just say that there is a physical like thing you can stand on, but it's like, say, nothingness technically. And then you look up into the sky, they have like Toon clouds, they have a Toon sun.
Yeah, can that vehicle reach the Toon stars?
Yeah. And then
can it reach to the sky above?
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering.
A villain not properly thinking out their plan before they act on it.
A capitalist not thinking about his plan before. Right? But no, I was just like, that was just something that was kind of baking my noodle, and I was just like,
So it's kind of downplayed a little bit, but so Judge Doom's plan is a genocide.
Because cars want to go somewhere good.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
And that whole Cloverleaf plot is actually based on something that actually happened in America, the General Motors streetcar conspiracy, which is not a conspiracy because it actually
it's just
happened.
A thing that happened.
But they call it a conspiracy for some weird, wonderful, bloody reason.
Probably because then they kind of like, it casts like doubt on something that did actually happen, and like the whole, when you say that, oh hey, remember when Coca-Cola hired death squads in South America to kill like Guatemalan farmers? Oh no, that was corn. But like, it's just like, oh yeah, remember that? And then people go, no, that's not true. And then you go, okay, it provably did happen.
Isn't the story of that? Isn't it in like a movie? Is it Chinatown? I think.
I don't remember.
Oh, it might be. Might be.
I might be misremembering there, but it does not matter. Because I think there's some elements of the movie that come from another movie. I'm sure it's Chinatown, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say. I just saw it when I was looking up trivia.
Yeah.
Villain monologue, plans to build. He's seen the plans to build a freeway, wants to demolish Toontown. He also bought the tram company, the red car company, to dismantle it because public transport, even if there was a big road, people would just take the convenient and cheap public transport. So he's just bought that as well to just entirely dismantle it.
Politics.
Get on the new road.
Because, not wanting to genocide people is, that's political.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Roger drops in with a gun, gets the weasels to drop their weapons, but the weasels drop a ton of bricks on Roger, and he generates stars.
Oh,
Ready when you are, Raoul.
Oh, that's a good callback.
Great callback. Honestly, the script for this had like 5 or 6 treatments. The version that we see is nowhere near what it was originally, and I am so thankful for that because it's so perfectly written.
I was going to say this.
It does feel very effortless, and it just flows very well.
I was going to say there's like some bits that come up, especially later on in this kind of segment, like where I was really impressed by how there's so much setup and payoff to like little things all throughout the movie. I was wondering if it was like the result of a movie like this has to be so tightly planned because you've got to have the live action and animation stuff put together. Like, you can't wing it. Reshoots are a massive deal, so you've got to really carefully...
would take days out of your schedule, which is just like, it's literally just infinitely increasing money.
Yeah, so there's just so much of it where like the movie is really, really tightly written in that regard, in a way that it's kind of notable how good it is at doing these things.
Well, I mean, there's the whole kind of like a lot of stuff is kind of like when there is foreshadowing. It's typically like in this. A lot of kind of like less well executed scripts would be like when he bumps into Acme, he does the invisible ink thing and that's it. But the fact that he does multiple goofy jokes and has like joke shop shit, it's like you just go, oh well, that's just his thing, and you don't think about it, but you know that he's been using joke prank kind of things, and that's when you start to put together because. I've seen some movies where it's basically, it would have just gone, Mr. Valiant, invisible ink, looks at camera, invisible ink, invisible ink, and then it just goes, and you're just like, I get that, thank you, cool, thanks, love that.
One of my favourite payoffs is coming up in the next scene.
Right, where are we? Oh yeah, so Doom gets the weasels to tie them up with escape-proof rope.
That can happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that because that's just such a well, I have a bullet-sized shield, dumbass.
And at this point, this is the what we were alluding to earlier, or talk about earlier. Jessica says she's loved Roger more than any woman has loved a rabbit.
Yeah.
This is the point where I looked up when the rabbit came out.
Yes, I absolutely did too. I heard that and I went, "Is it come out?" And I think it was like 1986 or something.
So, Doom slips on some eyeballs.
Not real ones, they're like gag eyeballs.
Yeah, they've been knocked over earlier in the scene.
Yeah, there's general cartoon chaos happening throughout all of this. But the hyenas they stop Valiant from taking advantage of that. And then they proceed to laugh, at which point Doom says that those idiots will laugh themselves to death, which gives Valiant an idea.
This has actually been said a couple of times throughout the movie.
Bring it up. It's been multiple times when they've all got the giggles, they've been shouted at to stop because they know what happens.
So, Snipe's favourite, Greasy, quite early on in the film, when the weasels start laughing, goes, "One of these days you idiots are going to die laughing." And this is my favourite payoff in the whole film.
It's actually kind of horrifying that
Well, we'll get there in a second.
Snipe, you've met me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
Because Doom gets up from having fallen over, he's like covering over his eye.
He's like, ouchie,
from having fallen over.
My eye. He's like, my eyelashes came off. I need to go and fix them.
Yeah,
he's wearing 301s.
Yeah, he leaves, leaving the weasels to do their thing. Valiant starts up a musical show and does
he has like a musical number because he's like, interesting.
He's actually performing it to the same track that Roger was performing to in the bar earlier as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Broke down.
I think I was still thinking about. I think I was still thinking about guns. So
Another little callback in that as well. Roger is singing about how he's going to turn Eddie into a Joker at the beginning, and like. he's going to bring the fun back into his life, basically.
And at that moment,
And then-
Eddie Valiant truly became the Joker.
The Joker.
Yeah, he's just like, you want to know about this society?
And then in the piece that
How to ruin a
Eddie
movie in one
does
sentence.
at this part, he's singing about how important Roger is to him, which is kind of cute.
Yeah.
And a lovely little callback.
But importantly enough, it is funny enough to make the hyenas laugh, and then they
weasels.
die. Or why about hyenas? Yeah, weasels. Sorry.
Because you're
Weasels.
thinking of the hyenas from The Lion King.
I think don't they actually
Oh,
mention
yeah,
that the
probably.
previous
Yeah, like
previous henchmen were hyenas?
Oh no, it's like your cousins or something.
Your idiot hyena cousins. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
And
really
yeah, they-
interesting
they-
because
they-
The
It's
Lion King
biologically inaccurate.
came out like in '96, so it's actually it's a real time paradox. No, it's not. I'm just being a twat. It's fine.
Because Eddie's doing all these kind of pratfalls, like using the cartoon props and things.
and he's killing them with song. One by one, like a
And this
hunter.
thing- so I watched. So like when the weasels are dying, like they die and they turn into
Why
like
do
a
they
ghost.
go to heaven?
Well, they
The
turn into,
shit they've done.
They turn into angels, and I'm like, because the whole thing about like nothing can kill a toon except the dip, and I'm like, because the thing is, they're not actually dying. What they are doing is transitioning into a different kind of toon, but they're turning into a ghost toon,
Okay.
and that means that there are specific rules for ghost toons. So toons can die, but
But are we saying
they
that
really
like?
really transition
But
to a
it
new
doesn't
type
truly
of life.
kill them.
Yeah.
Are we saying that dip erases every future stage of a toon's life? So,
Yes.
and let's say
Yes.
that the life cycle of a toon will be toon, ghost, skeleton, and then ghost. So they ignore the skeletons and just go straight into the.
Or maybe there's like a Kingdom
non-corporeal.
Hearts situation, and they can be both a ghost and a skeleton if the situation is correct.
Okay, that's I don't.
That was for the Kingdom Hearts fans out there.
Stop listening.
All
We
two
don't
of
want
them.
you here. No. I am joking, but yeah. And also, would that kill ghosts? Because presumably it just
If you dipped a ghost toon, it would kill them.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
would you just swing through them? They're non-corporeal.
Well, I mean, if you took a swing at them, like
Yeah, with a dip-coated fist.
I think the dip would still kill them because they're still
dip
fundamentally
would
made
kill
of
them.
ink and paint.
Dip overrides toon rules, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the dip would act like holy water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would just be slightly weird flavored water.
Yeah, if you Simon Belmonted at them, it would kill
Don't
them.
drink it, Snipe.
Yeah, it's
Again?
like turpentine and acetone.
it's
acetone.
this-
Or
it's
inhale
real
it,
bad.
or be near it.
It like dissolves animation cells.
Yeah.
Which is why
Yes.
that's what you
Yeah.
use
Yeah,
if
it's
you
paint
want to
stripper.
destroy
Yeah.
it's paint thinner,
Yeah.
yeah. See, as an artist, I watched that and went, duh.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yep.
Which means, could you create life like that? Could you create. Can you imagine, like, someone draws a really shitty, like. It's like, what's it, that weird, like, funky spang bib? Spang?
Pink bath? You're
I'm having a
talking about
stroke.
the weird SpongeBob from like an episode.
Does
of
that have a
SpongeBob.
soul?
Well, if that was concocted in the Roger Rabbit universe, then presumably.
That's terrible. I hate the Roger Rabbit universe.
But that depends if you believe that toons have souls. I would choose to believe that they do in this universe.
Because you're not a toon racist.
Yes,
yeah.
I do not have to go through the character arc that
But
Ed
anyway,
did.
so we could ascertain that they're fine. They're going to haunt, like. But I am deeply upset that they apparently turn into angels. And it's like, okay, so what do you have to do to go to Toon Hell?
I think
What
it's
the fuck?
I think it's more because it's
Because they've facilitated the murder of so many of their own.
the thing
like,
is,
people.
turning into an angel is a cartoon shorthand for being dead, and they live by toon rules.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
turning into a demon is not a cartoon shorthand for dying.
Okay, I guess
No.
that's right.
And
okay.
also, it's a Disney thing as much as it was done under Touchstone and
Okay.
Amblin. And there's only so much outside of Disney's comfort zone they're going to allow before they
Fair,
start putting
fair.
their foot down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is what I'm gonna put a pin in that for the part of the next scene that I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like tell anyone off. I'm just like just reminding myself. It's like I'm gonna have a go at you in 3 minutes, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, okay, shit."
So the weasels are dead.
TM.
Yeah, they all die from the various laughs. Valiant kisses one of them on the nose at one point, gets them to die. one of the ghosts, just to prove what the ghosts can do in Tomb Walls, pushes a lever. Yeah, they can just be dicks and
turns the dip
ghosts.
on the looted wagon on.
Yeah, and starts spraying it, getting closer and closer towards where Jessica and Roger are tied up.
And like hanging from the ceiling in front of the nozzle,
Valiant manages to stop it, but then Doom comes back.
Oh, it should be. Eddie does actually kill one of them straight up because he kicks one of them so hard in the balls that he lands in the dip.
Okay, so he is a Toon murderer.
Balls? That doesn't rhyme with nose. No, but this does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Always loved that line.
At this point, so now, Doom has returned, and now we get a Kane sword versus Sinatra sword fight.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
But first, we have a big magnet, and the magnet starts to pull Doom towards Valiant, but ends up backfiring and traps him.
It can happen.
Magnet. But,
I mean, Matt, you work with magnets every day. That's how they work scientifically. I've decided,
Okay, yeah, sure.
You heard it here first. Dr. Magnet has said it. That's how they work.
But luckily, he can use a portable hole to escape from being trapped.
Yep.
Again, these are all
Excellent.
things that were shown off
like,
when the cops were fucking around with stuff in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Set up, payoff. This movie gets it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not just bullshit, and it's like anything. It's So we get the fight scene between the two swords.
The glue grossed me out because it was like that weird Goomba goop from the Super Mario movie, and that made me feel really gross.
Yeah, because at one point Eddie holds up like a thing to stop himself from getting punched by Doom, and it's a tub of glue, and Doom punches into it, getting glue on his hands.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, so gross.
And then
the 80s were very goopy movies.
Yeah, like, just slime everywhere.
And very wet puppets.
It should. Important note: when Eddie is stuck and needs to free himself with the portable hole, Doom starts up a steamroller.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
What?
But it comes back to get him because
what's up?
Portable hole was my nickname at college.
Oh no.
Sorry, I thought I'd said something like wrong there. The way you're looking at me, I'm like, oh no, it's just a bit. Okay.
See, I'm sitting here very, very excited and trying to contain myself, waiting to hear how Drummer Matt feels about the next bit. Yeah. And I'm trying so hard.
Yeah. But yeah, so there is a steamroller at play that is roaming now because
that's the looted wagon has a steamroller.
Yeah. During shenanigans, Doom gets off the steamroller and so the steamroller is just kind of roaming free at this point.
Free range steamroller. Yeah.
Nature is healing.
Yeah, nature is healing.
Reclaim it, babe.
But as Webb said, Doom ends up getting glue onto his hand, which then gets onto his foot, and then manages to stick himself to the roller bit of the roller. Valiant, while he's stuck there, Valiant goes off and turns off the dip, and then Doom gets rolled. But
I have written down fucking hell, Doom's death. I understand why that scared kids as much as it did, because I was watching it as an adult going, this feels really wrong.
It's so brutal.
It is so, because like you see him getting crushed, and he's screaming, and
like,
you're
just screaming gibberish.
He's like the Christopher Lloyd, no, like kind of weird, like how my brother rolls his R's, like that, and it was just like, and I was just like, this is.
Like, it's not quick either.
No, it's not. It takes forever. And if I'd seen that when I was, like, young enough, I probably would have just cried. Like,
really?
if I was, like, I don't know, 20.
Maybe there's something wrong with me.
No, I think it's just me, because I'm, like, being someone who's been diagnosed, well, not diagnosed, but has been told I have hyper empathy by psychiatric professionals. Which is just like, great, now I can't watch a single movie without being so overwhelmed I cry. It's like, what did you just watch? It was a washing machine commercial.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Those people really wanted to.
They really wanted to get those stains out.
Those stains out, and they did.
30-degree eco-friendly wash. You know, the usual.
But yeah, so he gets run over by the thing, and it's fucking horrifying.
Fucking owned. It's terrifying. I got
By his own
scared.
steamroller.
Yeah. Hoisted by your own... Well, no.
Hoisted.
Crunched by your own steamroller.
I do.
Doesn't roll off the tongue,
I do
does
pitch
it?
that we should stop saying "hoisted by your own petard" and instead say "crushed by your own steamroller."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very weirdly, slowly crushed by
Yeah.
your own steamroller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But somehow he
What?
survives.
How could that be?
Because it turns out he's a Toon.
Yeah, him reinflating himself and getting back up, even though it was a bit silly, was still spooky because
Oh yeah,
Jesus Christ, dude.
really well done.
That is so scary.
So it goes over to like a
Like a helium pump and is like just fucking just deep throats it and then inflates himself. Like some
And-
kind of deviant art fetishist.
And the thing that always kind of squeaked me out a bit was when his eyes fall out.
When they pop out.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
So his human eyes pop out because they were fake.
And he has red eyes and he has a squeaky voice.
Yep.
But the way that it transitions is so well done because it goes from like just intense, angry Christopher Lloyd voice to pitch shifted screeching, and it's like, oh god, it's so good.
Remember when I killed your brother and I made a voice just like this?
Okay, so
Oh,
Wib already knows this fun fact because I told you about it when we were planning for this episode. But
just as planned.
I had a totally legitimate VHS copy of Who Framed Roger Rabbit when I was a child
Oh wow.
that definitely wasn't recorded off of the television.
No, because nobody did that because that was naughty and we'd never do that.
Exactly.
I totally
and it
didn't.
Definitely,
Yeah, I totally didn't see the movie the same way the first time.
And it definitely wasn't the pre-Watershed version that removes the part of that scene where Judge Doom explains who he is.
What? So you're just like, oh, okay. Guess that big
Yeah.
plot point of
So-
Eddie being a Toon racist because of trauma never... Okay, fine. Guess he's just...
But here's the thing. They kept the bit where Doom gets crushed by the steamroller
But that's
and
so much
reinflates
worse!
himself.
Oh my
They cut
god!
out, literally all they cut out was "Remember me, Eddie, when I killed your brother I talked just like this," and the dagger eyes that he does. That's the only bit that got cut out.
What did that fucking meeting look like? Okay, so there's the bad guy that while we all think he's human, he gets run over by a steamroller and he's screaming as it goes because it doesn't kill him straight away, and it goes on for a little longer than we feel it should, but he's screaming because he's in so much pain. Okay, yeah. Then he says, "Oh, Eddie, I killed your brother," and they're all like,
Too far.
hushed gasps.
right?
The office falls to silence.
I wonder if that was more of a time thing, like they just wanted to trim some time and they were just like, that's fine, that's just plot shit, no one cares about that.
No one's here for that.
No one's here for
I
the...
think some people might be. No.
No.
That's fine, don't worry about it.
They also left the very long and brutal Toon murder at the beginning of the film in.
Oh, God.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't find out that Judge Doom had murdered Teddy Valiant because his brother's name is Teddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
I glanced over that earlier, but yeah, Eddie and Teddy.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, Theodore. What a
Well,
nice name.
Edward
Yeah.
and Theodore is fine.
That's a good name.
But,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Eddie and Teddy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find out until I was in my early teens when I first got the DVD copy that I now
yeah.
own.
You're like, wait, what?
That must have been a genuine, like, revelation to you. You've been gaslit by a fucking, like, editing, like, a TV editor
Like, wait,
for
what the fuck?
years. And you're like, wait, what?
For me, it was more like, I knew it.
You were like, vindication!
Yeah, fucking called it.
Yeah.
20 years later.
You thought this was a fan theory. This was your headcanon, but
You were
no,
like,
it was the pure text of
I
the
put
movie.
the clues together. You fully LA noired it. And no one...
did.
Oh,
I
God.
did. I was really bad at LA Noir.
Me too.
To be fair, LA Noir's really bad at being LA Noir after the 10-hour mark.
My
Okay,
favourite part was like, did you kill, I don't know, Spondus McHiggins? It's like, no. And then they make a face like they've just realised they have 8 kidney stones in their pee hole right now. And you're like, is that a no?
There's
what
that
the
one-
fuck does that
there's
Press
mean?
F to doubt.
There's the one guy
F
who's
just
really
flick-
bad for that.
F to flick urethra with kidney stones in it.
Ouch.
Do, do, do.
Anyway, so Doom,
he turns the dip on again.
Yep.
Toon Doom. But ends up via a mallet gun from Valiant, which again we saw earlier.
The cops fucking around with because trigger discipline, fuck off.
Yep. Ends up getting himself with the dip.
Yes.
He douches with the dip.
He gets fully dipped.
Fully dipped.
He does.
Draining all of the dip out of the machine, in fact.
Yes.
Can I just say, the fact that you never see fully what he looks like as a Toon or even know who he was is so much more unsettling than like, oh, that was Jimmy McKinney Fiddler. He loved robbing children, Ron Banks, or fucking.
Because one of the
whatever.
fun little details
I'm so
is...
glad that's just not ever mentioned.
One of the fun little details is that, he as Judge Doom, he's wearing fake teeth. And his makeup's done in such a way that it looks like makeup.
The makeup people, they've put prosthesis over his like chin and cheekbones to make them subtly larger and uncanny. What they've done with the makeup is that they've blended the makeup and the prosthesis with a tone that is not matching his actual skin tone.
Very flat.
So it looks weird. It looks incorrect. And because it is flat, it isn't contoured or anything like you usually would do with makeup, let alone prosthesis. It looks otherworldly. And then the fact that he's wearing like fucking chewing gum pellet teeth is another thing of like, that's what somebody thinks.
But
a
it's also
person
not
looks
like super over the top, so he just kind of has this unsettling vibe to the way he looks.
Because it's all
in his disguise.
Everything about him, like even the way his stance is always slightly sideways, and he looms. He's like a big tree. He looms over you. And there's a shot where he's like. After like the weasels are coming, he comes in with, and his glasses have got they've shot it so the glasses have the anime flash, so it's reflecting light, which is a terrifying shot. So well done, fucking nice. It's just it's so fucking cool. And you've got Christopher Lloyd under all that, which is just the win condition anyway. Quite frankly, fantastic.
I think this may have actually been his first villain role as well.
He's so good at it.
I know.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Now I'm trying to think when Star Trek 3 came out.
Well, he was it's a bit of a spoiler for
because he's a villain in Search for Spock.
He's also a villain in a Star Wars thing he's in.
It's much later. Yes.
Much later. Yeah. But yeah, he does the kind of like, even though he's just an old man, he does quite well of like just being a bit cranky and eerie and spooky.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right, so he has melted himself in the dip. In the process, as Wib said, ran out of dip, which means that Roger and Jessica are now safe.
Or are they? Because they have to burst a fire hydrant to wash it all away.
Oh, just to wash the dip away.
Yeah, they just yeah.
So they can walk on it.
The vehicle looted wagon thing drives off through the wall into the distance, empty of dips. That's relatively safe.
And Toons just pour out, and they're like, "Yeah, immigration laws are stupid." And
It's
I'm like,
instantly
I concur,
hits.
based as fuck.
The truck is instantly hit by a Toon train. Who, if I remember correctly, if you pause it and look in the windows, there's all manner of fucked up shit happening on that train.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It's the fuck train.
No violence.
It's the fuck you train.
Really?
There's like at least isn't there at least one of them that is literally hanging?
Oh my god, I did not know that, but that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
That is the murder train.
Well, it killed the looted wagon, so
Yeah,
fucking
that's fine.
sidearm is not as good, I guess. That's a special joke that 40k players will enjoy.
Fire hydrant is used to wash away all of the dip. Cops arrive. Everything seems to be sorting itself out.
Despite the cops arriving.
Despite the cops arriving, they didn't. Yeah. At this point, the ink reappears on Valiant's shirt. The ink that was spilt onto him right near the start.
Wait, you're telling me the invisible ink has become visible ink again, and that the visible ink is seen by all the people who will be able to perceive things?
It's Marvin
visually?
Acme's disappearing, reappearing ink.
Reappearing ink.
Oh, wow.
Valiant.
That's a shame that didn't go anywhere.
Valiant finally realises at this point and checks out the love letter and the seemingly random blank bit of paper that Roger grabbed in Acme's wherever it was.
It was in Jessica Rabbit's dressing room.
Yeah, was the will, and the ink has reappeared. And the Toontown is indeed left for Toons.
I also want to point out,
Hooray.
because all of the tunes come through the loads of tunes, loads of recognizable
Come through
characters.
the hole.
Yeah, come through the hole to sort of see the corpse, the remnants, like the
man suit that
the
remains.
paint stained clothes of Judge Doom. It means this is the one place where you can watch both Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny laugh at a corpse.
So
This
far.
is true.
Good.
Yeah.
The content that we crave.
And they have an equal amount of lines as they're laughing at the corpse.
They have an equal amount of corpse mirth, yes.
Yeah.
They do. It's contractually obligated.
Contractually,
corpse mirth.
yes, exactly.
And they proceed to walk off into the sunset, and then we get a "That's all, folks."
Well, we get like an end song. I've got end song. That day on set must have been weird.
Yeah, it's a smile, damn you, smile. Song,
Yeah, where like
Yeah.
it just wow. Okay.
And also, there's you do get a "That's all, folks," but also Tinkerbell does that because again, contractual obligations to make sure there's exactly half and half.
It's like toddlers. It's like toddlers and fucking ice cream is what it's fucking like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh. Tedious.
So yeah,
And then that's the end of my notes.
And we found out who framed Roger Rabbit.
It was Judge Doom.
did.
He's
Judge
a wrong
Doom.
gun.
Yeah.
Just do.
He's a wrong un.
He's a wrong gun. Okay, so before we get to our personal thoughts, I'll tell you what. Shall I go through my trivia and Hobby? You can tell me if I'm wrong here or not.
Yeah, they will.
Go for it.
And if you want to add stuff after that, then yeah, we'll go for that.
Go for it.
Shockingly, this film was a commercial and critical success.
Shockingly.
Despite being, I was, being sarcastic. Despite it being the most expensive film made in the 80s, I think it was 70 million, which, is nothing nowadays, but was a fuckload then. Now, Roger Rabbit has appeared in other things after this. He's been in Tiny Toons Adventures at one point. And there's been a few standalone cartoons, and what I thought was notable is that they have been produced by both Disney and Warner Brothers, which feels quite fitting, considering the origins of the character. Now, this differs from the novel wildly. And post the movie, Gary K. Wolfe did write a few more Roger Rabbit books. What was it? Who plugged Roger Rabbit, which I presume is a sex thing. Who whacked Roger Rabbit, which is absolutely a sex thing. And Jessica Rabbit, Serious Business, which is it's got Jessica Rabbit, so it is a sex thing.
It's a sex thing.
But if I read correctly, all of the future novels retcon the novel, the original novel, into being like a dream sequence, and the movie is now canon.
What?
You are 100% correct there, yes.
Which is fucking
As
weird.
someone who owns the novels.
No.
How weird are the novels? Like, are they any good? Are they worth reading?
Okay, so my personal opinion on who censored Roger Rabbit is it is a stunning example of where the movie is way better than the book. Don't waste your time.
Okay.
I mean, you can if you want, but it's your typical sort of pulp fiction, but in my opinion, it's very badly put together. The ending feels very rushed.
I did read a synopsis of the book, and I went, this feels like a worse version of the book Hollow Chocolate Bunnies of the Apocalypse by Robert Rankin. And I have already read that, so I don't feel the need to read a worse version of that.
Yep, that's fair.
So yeah. Oh, there was also an Amiga and DOS game in 1991. And I've watched a little bit of a playthrough of it, and it's like... It seems to be... It's the sequence from the start of the movie where he's chasing after Baby Herman, and it's basically like an adventure game, but you need to do the specific things to, like, be transported to the next zone by making Roger do pratfalls. It seems a kind of interesting. It's really... The pixel art is really good in it. I'll give it that. So yeah, I don't know if it's any good because I haven't played it myself, but it looks interesting. I presume you've played it, Hobby, given that it's an adventure game and Roger Rabbit.
I actually haven't because
Really?
I've never had access to it.
Fake
but,
fan.
abandonware sites exist.
Yeah. Oh, also, Bob Hoskins' son was apparently really mad at him because he worked with Bugs Bunny and didn't let him meet him.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, he was 25 at the time.
Which I just thought was a cute little story.
That is really cute.
Yeah. And that's all the trivia I had written down, because this is one of those movies with so much written about it that I was like, I could lose weeks to my life, and instead we decided to postpone it for weeks rather than research it
And
for weeks.
roll dice 3,000 times.
Look, sometimes these things happen. So, Hobby, do you have any things that you think would be worthwhile us knowing before we go to our final thoughts?
I do, actually, yes. So, just to give people a little bit of context, I have been reading the book The Making of Roger Rabbit, Pulling a Rabbit Out of a Hat by Ross Anderson, which has a wealth of fascinating information, not just about the production of Roger Rabbit, but about the state of animation and Disney at the time that Roger Rabbit was being made. And it is a really well put together book. So if you find any of the stuff that I've said today interesting, it's well worth picking the book up and taking a look, because it's got far more knowledge on the subject than I do.
I also want everyone in the comments to congratulate Hobby for doing more work for a podcast than we have ever done.
What do you mean, we?
To be fair, this is a special interest subject for me. So really, the podcast is just a happy byproduct.
An excuse to have another look.
Yeah, it's an excuse for me to be excited about something that I care about.
Exactly.
So, an addendum to something that you said, Wib. In July of 1988, when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, it was #1 in the US box office, which was a massive surprise, not just for the team behind it, but also for Hollywood in general. Because at the time, animation was really severely looked down upon, and animation that blended with live action even more so. It was the first film to do anything like this. And frankly, considering some of the dross that's come out afterwards, I would say it's still the only film that's done anything like this.
Yeah, because I guess the only sort of prominent one I can think of before this that did it as like a movie is like the bits in Mary Poppins that are...
There was Pete's Dragon as well.
Oh, yeah, I always forget about that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's really racist.
True.
But the main reason it was a surprise to everybody that it did so well is because when they arranged the initial screen tests, as they do with any major motion picture, the scheduling for it was really bad. They'd set it up for like a Friday night, so it was all couples going to the pictures, not expecting to be watching some sort of like comedy hard-boiled detective film. So it got really bad reviews from the screen testers. So they were expecting it to bomb.
Oh, shit.
And it didn't.
Huh.
Other fun facts. So, you folks will have seen, like, cereal box characters
Tricks.
feeding real life children cereal and telling them how good it is for them.
Yes.
Where are the parents?
I know, right?
That's what freaks me out. They've all gone to the beauty salon, darling. See what I did there?
So-
That's a callback. A callback is defined as...
I see.
It was a good callback tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
So the fun thing about that is that the guy who did a lot of the old cereal commercials that used that kind of compositing effect. There we go. Get there eventually.
Compositional techniques.
Compositing.
Compost.
Was Richard Williams and his animation team. Richard Williams is a name that will be familiar to hardcore animation nerds because he is the guy behind The Thief and the Cobbler.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Didn't realise that was it. Okay.
Yep. So The Thief and the Cobbler, for anyone that doesn't know, is a very complex, very beautiful animation that took decades to do because Richard Williams is a madman and animates on ones instead of twos, meaning that there is one cell of animation per frame.
Huh. So twice the amount of work.
Twice the amount of work.
Ooh.
And he was a stickler for the details. He was notorious for getting somebody to do something, inking and painting something, an entire scene, they'd bring it back to him. He'd look at it and go, "No, I don't like that. Do it again."
Oh, so I murdered this man in cold blood. Okay.
Oh, you would.
Yeah,
You would.
Wow. Okay.
It's why The Thief and the Cobbler took so long to get made, because he got to a point with it where he basically owed a company money, and they went, "If you don't make this movie, we are just going to destroy you." But he was brought on by Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis to work as the animation director for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And it's his team, along with some absolutely stellar work from Industrial Light and Magic, that gave the Toons the look that they have. And it had never been done like this before.
Yeah, because
the
wasn't
animation
it...
was... Gone.
Oh, so because wasn't it like because there's the basic cell animation, and then it was like a really early computer effect to do the highlighting and the shadows on them, to do it like to be able to do it to them like as a whole, and to give them that sort of depth.
So ILM did all of the rotoscoping and color tone work, which is what gives it the depth and the shadows to make it look like the Toons are actually living in the world. ILM also contributed their pioneering technique of optical compositing, which folks will have also seen in Star Wars, because it's the same technique that was used to put the spaceship figures into the space scenes in Star Wars. And then I have two other fun facts that we didn't cover already. The first one was that in the original 3-minute long footage test for Roger Rabbit, when they were trying to pitch it and actually get somebody to buy into it, Paul Rubens was the voice of Roger.
Oh, wow. I can see that, actually.
Friend of the pod, Paul Rubens.
Friend of the pod.
And the last one is that Roger Rabbit was actually technically in production from the early 80s. Disney managed to acquire the rights to make a Who Censored Roger Rabbit movie before the book had even been published.
Oh, okay. They're
best
like, we
not to
can't
think
wait
about
to
how they
rewrite
managed
all
that.
of this so it's good.
Well, the original treatment was very, very close to the book, but the creative team behind it didn't like it.
I wonder why.
It caused a lot of friction.
I can imagine.
But just to give you a sort of bar of measurement, Tron, the script for Tron was acquired at the same time by the same guy in Disney.
Okay.
And that came out in 1982.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Christ, yeah.
So it's a strange success story of something basically being stuck in development hell and then coming out and being better for it.
Huh.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Does not happen often.
That just doesn't really happen.
Yeah, normally...
It happens so infrequently, you could just say that it statistically never happens.
You end up with way more Suicide Squads or Fan 4 sticks
I
than
will
you
say,
do Roger
okay,
Rabbits.
okay, Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
I love it because of that one line, that one fucking sentence from Rick Flag. This is Katana, she's got my back.
Yeah, but that's not good.
She can cut all
You
of
don't
you in
like-
half, just like mowing the lawn.
You don't
I would
like-
advise not getting killed by her. Her soul traps... I need that embroidered on my face.
Look, you don't like that because
Hang
it's good.
me in a bathroom.
You
What?
like that because it's the worst thing ever committed to film.
Yeah. And, you know, Jared Leto, like, burned so many bridges. That
Not
I'm
enough.
Like, not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough, unfortunately. I wanted him to burn the clothes he was wearing. But, you know, not in a sexy way, in a I want that man to suffer way, because he's disgusting and I hate him.
He's a bad man. But...
Anyway.
So, I think we should ask Matt first what he thought, because Matt's the one who had never seen the movie before and he selected it. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm very interested.
do you want to give us your thoughts and your number rating out of 10
I just about
for
ripped
Who
my
Framed
cock
Roger
off.
Rabbit?
I have gone back and forth on this in the past few weeks since watching it, being like, every time I hear something, I'm just like, oh, that puts it up a bit, oh, that puts it down. I could. Whatever I say today, I will give you a different answer tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. I think, to be fair, our
that-
wholly subjective system,
Absolutely.
it allows
Mine
for this.
is objective, so.
Okay, well, your number is objective. The rest of ours is subjective.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's obviously there's plus points, which bump up for my score. Obviously, I mean the acting is just ridiculous. Like it would be ridiculous a lot of the time anyway if they were acting against humans to like bounce off, and then remembering that, oh no, wait, hang on, that the cartoon obviously wasn't there when they filmed it. Like, yeah, and then the technical stuff behind, like Hobby, you were saying about the puppets and the various things that you did to all of that, and yeah, it's very good. I feel like I have to reduce a point or two for various, isms along the way.
Yep, that's fair.
Which like it's an old movie. It was made in the past. It doesn't make it okay or excuse it, but it gives context to it, obviously. But also, we can't not mention it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where I'm going to land on this. I'm going to go for a 7.
Okay.
I think that's a perfectly respectable number. Yeah.
But did you enjoy the movie? Like,
I did enjoy it. Yeah, it is very fun. I'm very glad I got a chance to watch it. Because it's one of those ones I've wanted to watch for ages and just never quite got round to for no particular reason. It's just never quite been, oh, what should we watch? That's the top one on the list. It's always been slightly off top to what, and they just,
I get you.
Right, who's next?
Who wants to go next? If no one says anything, I'll go next then.
Go next.
Okay.
Web.
I have a lot of nostalgia for the movie, and so I like it quite a lot. And I think in a lot of ways, I think I respect the movie a little more than I love it, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Like, I think the movie is like really, it is so impressively made, that I can't help but like, even if I hated the movie, I'd still respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do also like it as well. But yeah, I think that means it does mean that I will give it a solid 8, but it's a high 8.
Okay. Pretty cool. Hobolito, what do you think?
I would like to be left until last, please.
Okay. I guess that's me then. I don't have as much nostalgia for it. I've only seen it a couple of times. I have pretty good memories of it. Acting, the technicality of it is fantastic. Script writing is very, very good. They managed to like make it good from the book, from what I've been told, which I think is pretty impressive. Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay,
give it a 7. Now, Hobbo. Now, what do you reckon?
I would like to abstain from giving it a number because I think I am far too biased to give it a number.
Oh no, this is an entirely subjective system.
Apart from mine, so don't worry about it.
So you get to give us a number, and also it means that not all of our numbers will end in 0.3 or 0.7. So
which would be nice.
Yeah, that would be good.
Fair. Okay.
10.
So this has been my favourite movie since I was about 6 years old, as I said right at the beginning of the podcast. And that's because from the moment I first saw it, I was just fascinated by how it was put together. Even as a tiny little hob, I knew that some serious movie magic had gone into this. And Roger Rabbit is the film that got me interested in practical effects. And practical effects has been an obsession of mine since I was very young, as has animation. So I've got a lot of love for this film. It does, as has been pointed out, have some issues, but to just steal wholesale a quote from Welcome to Night Vale, no movie is perfect. It becomes perfect when you accept it for what it is. And for me, Roger Rabbit is a perfect movie. So much love, so much attention, so much thought went into it. It's a testament to the indomitable nature of animation because it came out at a time when nobody respected animation at all. It stood the test of time. It took 7 years to make, and proved that animation and live action animation combination films are doable and are worth something. It won multiple Academy Awards.
Without this, you wouldn't have got Space Jam, you know, so think about
Without
that.
this, you wouldn't have got
Well, yeah, exactly. But it did so much for the film industry. It's such an important cornerstone of cinematic history that I cannot give it a number less than 9, despite its flaws. I know it has flaws, and I understand that and accept that, but it's just so important, historically speaking, and so important to me personally, from how it's helped me develop an interest, that, yeah, I'm going to go with a 9.
Okay.
Good number.
Okay.
So that means the total is...
That would be 7.8.
That's...
Rounding to 1, yeah.
Yeah, rounding to 1 decimal place.
Rounding to 1. Mr. Maths is present, I forgot.
Which,
Someone will say something if I don't.
Which does...
Someone's going to say something if you do anyway and go, actually, it's a 4. I did it in my head while I was smoking meth, so fuck you, actually.
Which makes it, on our completely scientific and objective system, apparently, it makes it the 3rd best movie that we have watched.
Yeah.
Although, perhaps... the most important one we've watched?
I'm sorry, but Mask of the Phantom... yeah.
Certainly the most...
And also, I'm pretty confident that if, you got us to put this, the 6 films we've watched so far in order, it wouldn't be the order that the scores suggested is.
No.
None of us would have put them in that, probably put them in that order somehow.
No.
This is the fun of having this number system at the end, is that it makes us go that's and to make you think about how you do grade these things. But with that, we reach the end of our podcasting journey and this
forever. That's it.
Presumably
Goodbye.
bumper long episode. Now we have a few little bits of housekeeping to do before we leave you. One is to say, Hobbytan. Yeah. Where can people find you on the internet if they want?
Plug your pluggables.
Plug all of your pluggables. Where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, around.
Fucking
maybe
useless. Thanks, Hobbo.
So you can find me on twitch.tv/hobbytan. That's where you'll find me most of the time.
Their streams are good and wholesome and cool. Can recommend.
Thank you.
Unless I'm on there, then they are very not.
Then they are chaotic and toon-like, which is even better.
I'm either Roger Rabbit in this relationship. Oh no.
If you're the Roger Rabbit, that makes Longfang Eddie Valiant.
That makes so much sense, actually.
I'm just saying.
Oh god. Anyway,
yeah. And I've got links to my Discord, my social media. I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter. Not very good at using them these days, but you can find all of that through my Twitch anyway, because, like I say, that's where I am most of the time.
Okay, cool.
And now it's time to figure out what we're doing next time, because it's Wib's decision.
Yes.
Everyone loves it when Wib picks a movie.
I have picked
Power Rangers. Gorgo.
Man, I so skewed our baseline by having Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie be the first movie.
Fucked it.
So the next episode is going to be a little different because our dear friend Drummer Matt is going to be taking a little bit of a break for a little while. So it will be Mattless, but we will have a guest to fill in the 3rd slot. And I won't say who that is right now, but I will allude to it because I wanted to pick a fitting movie for that, and I have gone with one of my favourite movies.
Oh, good.
Which is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, with Benedict Cumberbatch.
With Ricardo Montalban.
Even better.
Not the terrible Star Trek Into Darkness, the worst Star Trek movie.
Fucking annoy you. I knew what it was.
But yeah, so that is what we are going to be doing, and hopefully it will be on time next time.
And we'll figure it out. That's fine.
And not that. So, does everyone Does anyone have a final word to say before we say goodbye to the lovely people at home?
I only have one thing left to say.
Go on.
Laughter is a very powerful thing. Sometimes in life, it's the only weapon we have.
That's pretty dope. That's too wholesome and powerful. I'm just like, hey, come.
I assumed you were going to say that's all, folks.
Yeah.
No, I'm really bad at the Porky Pig impression.
we have done pretty well to get through this whole movie, talking about it for like 3 hours, where it's full of like famous cartoon character voices, and I think we managed to barely touch on any of them.
I'm really
None
glad
of us
because,
tormented
like,
the
that's
audience.
just what our parents did to torture us, and they were all like, everyone thought they could do fucking Donald Duck, and not one of them said a slur.
Yeah. It's the only way to get the Donald Duck perfect.
Apparently. Yes, thank you very much for listening, everybody. You take care, and we are going to see you next time for Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.